If it's Friday night, oh yes it is. Strictly Sports NFL Friday. Hello friends, Anthony Flair here with you for another edition of Strictly Sports NFL Friday. Delighted to have you with us as always on this Black Friday night. And you know, we all hope you had a very wonderful and blessed Thanksgiving Day yesterday with your loved ones. I certainly did. I'm sure MF did. Michael Bullock nowhere to be seen right now. He's out and about like he usually is. I am hopeful that he will be back. He will be back in with us soon enough. And when he does come in, we'll catch him up on what he missed, like we always do when he's running late. So, yeah, Week 12 well underway in the NFL. Of course, yesterday we had 3 games yesterday on Thanksgiving Day. The Minnesota Vikings and the Detroit Lions in Game 1. And then in Game 2, we had the Washington Redskins against the Dallas Cowboys. And then in the nightcap, we had the Pittsburgh Steelers against the Indianapolis Colts. First 2 games, to be real honest, instant classics, both full of Shakespearean drama. The Detroit Lions defeating the Minnesota Vikings 16-13, now have sole possession of first in the NFC North. We'll see how long that lasts. And the Dallas Cowboys continuing to show us why they are the best team in the NFL and in our power rankings. They're going to be number 1 for at least a couple more weeks because you already know they're going to be number 1 this week. And they're going to be number 1 next week because of their win yesterday. So for at least 2 more weeks, this team will be number 1 in our power rankings, and rightfully so because they have been far and away the best team right now. And what a game that was with the Redskins. They won that one 31-26. And then in the nightcap, well, I hope the tryptophan kicked in for you because that third game was a snoozer. Let's not kid ourselves. That was an absolute snoozer. But then again, I think we kind of needed it after those 2 instant classics full of Shakespearean drama like the other 2 games were. As the Pittsburgh Steelers had no trouble with the Andrew Luckless Indianapolis Colts, 28-7, easy win for Pittsburgh last night. So, yeah, I want to bring MF in real quick. I got good old MF Michael Fletcher here. MF, come on in real quick. I want to get a quick thought from you before we get started with the rest of our Week 12 slate. You know, I'm sure you saw the Thanksgiving games yesterday, like we all did. Of those 3 games, I mean, any stand out to you? Any standout moments that you want to, get into real quick before we, cut the ribbon on Week 12 here?
I will say this, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. No, I mean, when you talk about what started yesterday, I mean, like I said, I had a vested interest in the Detroit Lions and Minnesota Vikings. I saw the game. Almost the entire game because I was getting ready to have a little Thanksgiving festivities with my godparents, and we were basically, like I said, I was able to watch bits and pieces of the game. I saw, especially towards the end, great performance, great game. I mean, amazing job by the Detroit Lions. I mean, it looked like they were down a little bit early. They were playing a little bit, I don't want to say they played tight, but they did play really good. Nothing more to say. I think that was just an absolute great win for them. And I think that might have been, that could be enough to seal the deal and actually put the Detroit Lions not only in the playoffs, but actually might and have them winning the NFC North Division for the first time since 1993, when Barry Sanders and Gus Frerotte, and I think the head coach was Wayne Fonts. I think I'm going that far back. I think I'm right about that. So, I mean, how about that? And I know, Anthony, personally, your brother, who is, I still believe still is a Detroit Lion fan. He must be so ecstatic with that type of win and a victory. And I know you'll get into that in a little bit. And then the Dallas Cowboys and Washington Redskins, man, that is what Thanksgiving football was all about, man. 2 teams going at it, exciting to the end. Dallas scoring, Washington with an unbelievable response. I think the one moment in the game that really had me absolutely like jaw dropped was how wide open Deshaun Jackson got, and he scored that touchdown, and I'm like, oh dear Lord, how did that happen? The game was amazing. Ezekiel Elliott was clutch. So was Dak Prescott. Again, Prescott solidifying my reason why he should be the most valuable player of the NFL this year. No doubt about it in my mind now. If we had to put the vote to it, and I know I'm not a writer for the NFL, so I don't have a say in this, but I'll openly admit it, and I'll say it right here, right now, in front of all these fans. Dak Prescott is my MVP for 2016. There's really nothing more to say. And yes, the third and final game was a dud. We kind of had a feeling it was, but Antonio Brown, what a performance for him. 5 catches, 84 yards. Yeah, that doesn't really mean much, but 3 touchdowns in the game, and they were all big. I mean, they were all, I think a few of them were 20, 30 yards plus. So, I mean, there's really nothing more to say. Unbelievable performance. Anthony, let's get going on week 12.
Yes, indeed. And, we had our say on Thanksgiving. We hope you enjoyed those games, and that's all I can say on it. And, I mean, those first 2 games were amazing, down to the wire. I mean, that Minnesota-Detroit game, I mean, what a finish there. And Washington and Dallas back and forth, and Dallas finally winning, and then Pitt just having an easy time with Indy. No Andrew Luck. I mean, you knew that was going to be the case. So there you go. So with that, there's still more action here in Week 12, and that's going to be and that's all going to go down on Sunday. Of course, 12 games on Sunday, 1 more on Monday. So let's dive right into our first matchup, which will be the Arizona Cardinals going up against the Atlanta Falcons from the Georgia Dome in Atlanta. This game is on Fox, and on the call for Fox will be Kevin Burkhardt, John Lynch, and Pam Oliver. And the spread favoring the Atlanta Falcons, 5.5 to 6 points. Series history also, well, actually, that favors the Arizona Cardinals, 15 to 13. Last meeting was 2014. That was in the Georgia Dome. The Falcons won that 29 to 18. Cardinals have not won in Atlanta since all the way back in 1993 when I believe they were the Phoenix Cardinals at that point. Yes, they were. They were the Phoenix Cardinals. 27 to 10 in 93. That's the last time they won in the Georgia Dome. The last time they beat them overall was 2013 in Arizona. That was a 27 to 13 score. And the FPI game rater, our godsend for this season, where did this game rank according to them? Number 5. Cracked the top 5. Number 5 game of the week. And I will start it off here. So the Falcons rank 2nd in the NFL in offensive efficiency, and the Cardinals rank 2nd defensively. Matt Ryan is a viable MVP candidate, but he will be tested against the Cardinals this week and the Chiefs and Rams in the next 2 contests. FPI refuses to give up on the Cardinals, but a loss would all but end their hopes of a 3rd straight playoff appearance. Speaking of disappointing teams, the Cardinals certainly apply. Their defense has been good, but their offense has been pretty hit and miss as quarterback Carson Palmer is clearly on the decline. Their performance in Minneapolis was disappointing, and now they get to go to the Georgia Dome and take on a completely different style of team in the explosive Falcons. Unless they can get to Matt Ryan early and often, I think this will be a tough one for Arizona to win. So I'm going with the Atlanta Falcons to win this game. My final score is 24 to 17. The Atlanta Falcons defeat the Arizona Cardinals in the Georgia Dome. And behind Matt Ryan, who I think is going to have another solid game, Julio Jones, Devontae Freeman, Tevin Coleman, I think they're going to have huge games as well. I think the defense will get to Carson Palmer a little bit, and maybe they'll slow down David Johnson, and, it should be a good game. I wish we were getting this game, but unfortunately we're not. So that's really all I can say on it. So 24-17, Atlanta defeats Arizona in the Georgia Dome as far as I'm concerned. So, MF, your thoughts on Arizona and Atlanta, our number 5 game of the week?
No, this is a great matchup, and I'm a little surprised. I really thought this was going to be a little higher. I actually thought this was going to crack the top three, honestly. Um, no, this is a good matchup, and I like how the layout is. Atlanta right now looks like the best team in the South. Arizona, right now they're chasing, and I do mean they are chasing the Seattle Seahawks because the Seahawks looks like they're starting to pull away. So this is really a pivotal game for Arizona. Anthony, you said it. If they don't win this game, their season could be over. And that means no playoffs. And this would be disappointing because Arizona had a lot of expectations going into the season. A lot of people thought that Arizona was even good enough to make Super Bowl. I mean, yeah, we'll wait and see what happens there. This is going to be an unbelievable matchup. Then on top of that, with Atlanta, Matt Ryan, yeah, MVP candidate. We'll wait and see what happens. The two-headed monsters of Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman has been unbelievable. Julio Jones, he's been good. I mean, he's one of the guys who leads the NFL in receiving yards. I think he's already got like 1,100 yards already. So, I mean, he is definitely another major threat. But the defense, that's going to be the key. Can they stop David Johnson? Because David Johnson has been unbelievable this season, man. There's been a few games where he's averaged over 100, 150 yards on the ground. And Atlanta has been known to give up about maybe 85, 90 yards. That would be a good output, but, how are they going to do it? How is Carson Palmer going to deal with that? And does Larry Fitzgerald get into that second and third tier, into the secondary? Can he break one if he gets the opportunity? So this is going to be a back and forth battle, a seesaw battle, no doubt about it. But my score is a little more closer than what you got it. My final score is 31-28, and I give it to the Atlanta Falcons. I think this is going to be a very good game, to say the very least. So, Anthony, let's go to the next one.
And you're going to be starting it off, MF. Just got to get my things together. Okay, it's going to be the Cincinnati Bengals going up against the Baltimore Ravens. M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore is where we're going to be for this one. This game's going to be on CBS. And on the call for CBS, it'll be Ian Eagle with Dan Fouts and Evan Washburn. And the spread favors the Baltimore Ravens by a count of 4 to 4.5. And to my knowledge, I don't know if they've met earlier this season or not. I don't think they have. Maybe they have. I just don't know. But nonetheless, the series history, if they haven't met yet, this series history is tied at 20 apiece, 20-20. Yeah, 20-20. And the Cincinnati Bengals have actually won the last 5 meetings in a row, including the last 2 in Baltimore. 28-24 last year and 23-16 the year before that, which meant the last time the Ravens won at home against the Bengals was in 2013. That was a 20-17 overtime win that year. And the game rater rated this game at number 9, which I think is understandable considering that Cincinnati has been a meh team this year. So they're back to being the Bungles. I can't believe I'm saying that, considering how good they've been the last couple of years. So MF, I mean, once upon a time, this is a game that you and I would usually jump on, but yeah, not this time.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The reason why being as hardcore into this game, or the excitement of this game, or why we're really feeling this matchup is, like you said, it's the records, it's the battle, it's, sometimes certain things and certain degrees in the NFL, you're just, you have to really wonder in certain situations. But here's the thing, this is a huge game for the Baltimore Ravens. Pittsburgh has won. Pittsburgh won last night, and they won this going away. The thing is, in my opinion, and this is just my humble opinion, is that if Baltimore loses this game, which they could, but if they lose this game, this would be a major setback for this team. I mean, for Baltimore, this would be a major setback. And on top of that, this is their first time that they're playing. Actually, is this their first time? Let me see. I'm checking. Yes. So this is their first time that they're playing against them this season in Baltimore. And the next time that they do see them again later in the season is actually the final game of the NFL season. Cincinnati and Baltimore will play on New Year's Day, 1 o'clock in Cincinnati at Paul Brown Stadium. So this is a very crucial matchup. They need to win this game more than anything else. If you're Cincinnati, you're thinking in the back of your mind, how are we going to do this? How can we do this? How can we really establish? Because if you really think about it, offensive efficiency, the advantage actually goes to Cincinnati because of the fact that Andy Dalton, he actually plays a little more better. The reason why that one reason why that the Bengals are going to win this, I should say that Baltimore is going to win this, is their defense. Their defense is top notch. They only surrender about 295 yards per game, 219 through the air. They hold runners to about 76 yards, and they only give up about 19 points per game. That is really good because I hate to say this, Baltimore does not have a running game. They only get about 87 yards per game, where Cincinnati puts up about over 113 per game. So, I mean, if Baltimore can stop the run, pressure Andy Dalton, make him do those mistakes like he's been known to do in the past, then this is an open and shut case, ladies and gentlemen. So give me the Baltimore Ravens to win this game. This is definitely going to be a good matchup. Anthony, it's yours.
The 5-5 Ravens sit atop the AFC North, but with 3 of those 5 wins coming against the Browns twice and Jaguars, FPI is not yet a believer. Baltimore has a 26% chance to make the playoffs, but a division win against the injury-riddled Bengals would increase those chances to 36%. The Bengals have quietly been one of the more disappointing and underwhelming teams in the league this season, and one of the key reasons why has been their defense, which has taken a noticeable step backwards. And now they will be without A.J. Green, and that's a killer. Baltimore has ridden their defense to hanging around in the postseason mix, and that will continue to be the case here. MF, I agree with you 100%. I have the Baltimore Ravens winning this game as well. My final score is 17-10. Baltimore defeats Cincinnati. Like I said, no A.J. Green for Cincinnati. That's a killer for Andy Dalton and company. I mean, yeah, you still got the running game with Hill and Bernard, and then but at least you got your tight end back. Tyler Eifert, who's your touchdown machine there. My old friend from Notre Dame. I mean, I'm glad he's back in the mix. But Baltimore, though, I mean, Flacco's playing well again. Steve Smith Sr. has discovered the fountain of youth. I mean, I'm benefiting big time from that in my fantasy because I have him on my fantasy team, which he's been doing. He's got me a few good games this year. This last week, no exception, and that's really all there is to say on that. I think the defense will get to Dalton and keep the running game in check. So yeah, I'm going to agree with you, MF here. The Baltimore Ravens will defeat the Cincinnati Bengals. My final score, like I said, 17-10. So really nothing left for me to say here. Let's just move on to our next matchup, and it's going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars going up against the Buffalo Bills from New Era Field in Buffalo, or as I like to call it, Ralph Wilson Stadium, Rich Stadium, Orchard Park, New York. This game's going to be on CBS. On the call for CBS, it'll be Andrew Catalon along with Steve Berline, and Steve Tasker is going home. Steve Tasker, yeah, my man Steve Tasker, a former You remember he was on those great Buffalo Bill teams in the 90s. I mean, he was a major factor on those teams. Believe me, he was. Offensive line guy. And the spread favors the Buffalo Bills. Not a big surprise here. 7.5 to 9 points is the spread. I'm very happy with that spread. Very pleased with it. And this game, where did FPI rank this game on the Game Rater? They rated it at number 8. And I forgot to mention the series history. 7-6 in favor of the Buffalo Bills. Their last meeting was a year ago in London, England, and the Jacksonville Jaguars won that game by a score of 34-31. Last meeting in Buffalo was 2012. The Buffalo Bills won that one 34-18. And the Jaguars' last win in Buffalo was 2010. That was a 36-26 score in Buffalo. And like I said, the Game Rater rated this game at number 8 on our games of the week, number 8. So this game is expected to be the second most lopsided of Week 12, and it could not come at a better time for Buffalo. The Bills currently sit 2 games back of the second wildcard spot, but with a favorable end-of-season schedule, 4 home games, Buffalo has a 29% chance to make the playoffs. Those chances fall to about 11% with a loss as a heavy favorite. LaShawn McCoy's injury situation notwithstanding, the Bills should win this game going away. The Jaguars have absolutely nothing left to play for. They are flailing as we count down the days until the end of the Gus Bradley tenure. Meanwhile, Buffalo is still in the playoff mix after defeating the Bengals, and they should not have any issues here. So with that being said, I got the Buffalo Bills winning this game. My final score is 20-10. Buffalo wins this. I think Tyrod Taylor is going to have a solid game, and here's the big caveat. Sammy Watkins could be back for Buffalo. And if he's back, oh boy, that's going to give the receiving core a major boost. I mean, because I know Percy Harvin is battling an illness. I know that. And we still got Robert Woods. We still got Marquise Goodwin. And the defense, I think we'll get to Blake Bortles and shut down their receiving core of Robinson and Hearns and of course, Mason. They're in the running game. So Jacksonville's all but done. I mean, another vintage Jacksonville Jaguars season, which I cannot say I'm surprised at. I mean, going into the season, I know Fletcher and Bullock had some optimism about them, but I wasn't fooled. I saw it coming from a mile away. I didn't think they were going to be anything, and sorry to say it, but I believe I had that one. So really nothing left for me to say here except Buffalo keeps their playoff hopes alive. No question about it. They got a favorable schedule coming up, 4 home games, but that will definitely help. So, and they came off a humongous win in Cincinnati. Honestly, I didn't think they were going to win that game, but somehow, some way, they did find a way to win, and I'm more than delighted that they did. So, 20-10, Buffalo wins. One of my locks of the week for sure. Not the lock of the week though. We got Bullock in, but we'll get to him in just a minute because MF's next on our lineup. So MF, Jacksonville, and Buffalo. My team shouldn't have any trouble, right?
No, I don't think Buffalo should. The LaShawn McCoy thing does worry me a little bit if you're a Buffalo, but I think Tyrod Taylor will do just fine. The one thing that I would definitely want to say is be careful with that defense. That defense is actually underrated, and I know they've given a few teams some fits along the way. But with Buffalo, the way that they've been playing, especially give it up for Rex Ryan, man. I mean, I know Ryan can be a noggin, a diva, and a pain in the you-know-what sometimes, but, he's done very well for himself, and, he's played with the passion, the fire that he normally does. These type of games should be easy to win. Play offensively, play smart football, play, like you always have been. That defense will be ready to go. And Blake Bortles is not a great, quarterback. I don't think he is at all. The one area where I think we could have trouble is actually on the defensive side. So, yeah, Buffalo wins going away. So, nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, welcome to the show.
All right, Michael Bullock is here. We're going to catch him up real quick.
Thanks, fellas, and hopefully you guys had a pretty good Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we sure did. I'm sure you did too. I'm
sure you could tell by some of the videos you saw or pictures.
Yes, absolutely. And what did you think of those Thanksgiving games yesterday, real quick? Bullock.
Huh?
What did you? What were your thoughts on the Thanksgiving games yesterday, real quick?
I mean, well, the Detroit Minnesota game at first. I thought Minnesota should have won, but in the end, I mean, Sam Bradford made a stupid, idiotic mistake with throwing that pick, and Detroit capitalized on it, and now they have sold the first place in the NFC, and they continue to be on this roll. So the Dallas game, I mean, that was a game that could have gone either way with the way. Washington played good offensively, but the only problem was they couldn't stop the Cowboys defensively, especially Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, who once again to the occasion. So now 10 in a row, and man, that Cowboys Nation is very excited. And as far as the last game, I wasn't surprised. I mean, we knew Pittsburgh was going to win this one, and so I mean, Roethlisberger, another solid performance. So that's pretty much all I can say on it. I mean, very good. I mean, to me, the best game out of the three on Thanksgiving was obviously Washington and Dallas. No doubt about it.
Yeah, amen to that, Bullock. I mean, that was a very high scoring affair, no question about it. So, all right, let's get you caught up on our picks here. Only 3 games, not bad at all.
Yeah, I'll just make it quick.
Yes, that's a good idea. Arizona Cardinals against the Atlanta Falcons in the Georgia Dome. Your thoughts on that?
Falcons winning this one. I mean, zero confidence in this Arizona team. I mean, I expected so much from them going into the season after their appearance in the NFC Championship game, and Atlanta's has been really good this season and control FC South. So give me the one. They're Matt Ryan, Devontae Freeman, Julio Jones. So
all right, and the next game after that, the Cincinnati Bengals against the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore.
Well, it's a divisional game. It's tough for me to decide, but wow. I mean, I'm gonna go with. I have to go with the. I'm gonna have to go with the Baltimore Ravens in this one. I just don't know what to expect from this Cincinnati Bengals team. So yeah, so give me Baltimore to win it.
And the game that we were just talking about, the Jacksonville Jaguars against the Buffalo Bills. Now let's get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I got Buffalo winning this one. I mean, like you just said, so much expectations for this Jacksonville Jaguars team going into the year, especially from me. And well, you know the rest of that story. Buffalo
Indeed.
wins.
Yep, Buffalo wins. I agree with we both agree with you on that. So Bullock, you're now all caught up. So let's move on to our next matchup, which MF is going to start off on, and we're gonna stick with the CBS theme here, as we are going to get into the Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans going up against the Chicago Bears. This game will be at Soldier Field in Chicago, and just bear with me for a minute as I get my information here. All right. This game's on CBS, like I said, and on the call for CBS, it'll be Spiro Dedes and Solomon Wilcots. They will be at Soldier Field for the Titans and the Bears. The spread favors the Tennessee Titans by 5.5 to 6. Series history, 6-5 in favor of the Chicago Bears. Last meeting was in 2012. That game was in Tennessee, and the Chicago Bears put a whooping on the Tennessee Titans that year, 51-20. Last meeting in Chicago was 2008. The Tennessee Titans actually won that game by a score of 21-14. And when was the last time the Bears won at home against this team? Got to go back to 1995. That was a 35-32 win back when they were the Houston Oilers, as you know. And the Game Raider, where did the Game Raider rank this matchup? This game came in at number 12. So basically, it's one of the zonk games of the week, if you really think about it. So, Michael Fletcher, you start this one off. So, Tennessee Titans, Chicago Bears, one of our zonk games of the week for sure. Tennessee, they've been playing halfway decent so far, but Chicago, what a mess.
Yeah, what a mess. Maybe no Jay Cutler. I don't think he's going to do it. Of course, Bullock will hit us with the injury report momentarily. You know what? A lot of people thought that there was no way Tennessee was going to be in the mix, but then they opened a lot of people's eyes when they absolutely destroyed the Green Bay Packers, and that made people notice. Not only myself, but made the rest of the AFC notice. Like, oh, we got another threat in the water. So, see what happens here. I'm not really as sold on. I'll openly admit this. I'm not sold on the Tennessee Titans. I'm not. I mean, look, good story, decent team, no doubt about it. But 5-6, and you're trying to chase the Houston Texans. I mean, as much as this may go. Yes, I think Tennessee should win because, come on, Chicago is god awful. Losers of 2 in a row. They have not even won a game in the non-conference. So far this season, they're 0-3 against the AFC. Come on. I mean, there's really nothing more to say. They just can't get the job done. They can't. Their defense is pitiful. They've given up 237 points already. I mean, I think it's gonna be DeMarco Murray's gonna have a big day. I think Delaney Walker's gonna have a big day. I think Marcus Mariota is gonna go off on the Chicago D. It's not even gonna be close, guys. I'm calling for a blowout. I think it's gonna be maybe 2-3 touchdown victory for the Tennessee Titans, but they're gonna bear down on the Chicago Bears, and not in a good way. So I mean, give me the Titans. Nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Well, as far as the injury report is concerned for both teams, no real big names for the Titans, but for the Chicago Bears, of course, Jay Cutler with a doubtful. Guard Josh Sitton had ankle injury; he's doubtful as well. Eddie Royal with a toe injury is listed as questionable. So, yeah, so there's nothing more to say. Fletcher pretty much touched on about this game. I mean, Murray's going to go off, so the Titans to win this one in a blowout. So, Florio, it is yours.
The Bears are likely more worried about fielding a full roster than making the playoffs as injuries and suspensions continue to pile up. Tennessee remains in the AFC South race with a 10% chance to win the division. However, a loss to the Bears may prove to be the end for the much-improved Titans. Chicago was more competitive than I thought they would have been in the Meadowlands against the Giants, but they are still very much a mess and now also hurt. Most notable of the players out is Jay Cutler. The Titans didn't play all that well in a loss to the Colts in the Circle City, but even on the road again, they should take out the Bears. So I got the Tennessee Titans winning this game. My final score, I'm going to go 20-10 yet again. Marcus Mariota, solid game for him. DeMarco Murray, solid game. Maybe some Derrick Henry and Delaney Walker, and defense should have no trouble with, I assume it'll probably be Hoyer. That's probably going to get the start for Chicago. And the only bright spot Chicago really has is their running game with Jordan Howard. I mean, he's a young man who's been playing really well, but even with him, he's not going to be enough to carry the load. So 20-10, my final score in favor of the Tennessee Titans. So really nothing left for me to say. Let's just move on to our next game. And Oh, yeah, we're going to have some fun with this one. Yeah, right. The New York Giants going up against the Cleveland Browns at First Energy Stadium in Cleveland, Ohio. This game's going to be broadcast on Fox. And working this game for Fox, it'll be the legendary Dick Stockton, along with Matt Millen and Peter Schrager. And I got to be honest here. I forgot to mention, we're going to be getting the Cincinnati Bengals Baltimore Ravens game on our CBS affiliate. Unfortunately, the scheduling gods, oh boy, guys, we got dealt the short straw on this one. We're actually getting this game. Boy, howdy, how lucky are we?
Oh no!
Thank God
Wow.
I am working and I don't have Fox at my local Walmart.
Lucky you, MF.
Well,
Lucky you.
unless you have the
No. We don't have cable over there. We don't have cable over there.
Well, I meant like if you have it like on your phone via NFL Mobile.
I got AT&T.
Oh,
I can't carry that. I don't carry that.
They don't do that.
Never mind then.
They don't do that.
If you have Verizon, yes, but I got AT&T. Nope.
Yeah, we got dealt.
And for a crap fest like that, I don't want that game.
None of us do. Thankfully, we got the Bengals and the Ravens on the other side. Thank you for that. Even though I'm not really excited about that one either, honestly. But anywho, let's get into this. Giants, you would think they'd be massive favorites, but not as big as you would think. They're only 7 to 7.5 point favorites. I mean, I'm surprised they're not double-digit favorites, considering how well they've been playing and how god-awful Cleveland is. But 7 to 7.5 is the spread for the Giants. And the series history, there is a lengthy history here because they used to meet back in the early days. 26 to 20 with 2 ties. That it favors the Cleveland Browns. The 2 ties were in 1955, 35-35 tie in New York, and then in 1961, a 7-7 tie in New York. Last meeting was let me pull it up here. Last meeting for these guys was in 2012. That game was in New York at MetLife. The Giants won that one 41 to 27. Last meeting in Cleveland was in 2008, and the Browns actually put a whooping on the Giants that day, 35 to 14. Giants' last win in Cleveland was in the year 2000. That was a 24 to 3 win. Of course, they went on to the Super Bowl that year before they got beat down by the Ravens in Tampa, as everybody remembers. And where did the game rater rank this game? Well, you would probably think it's the Zonk game of the week. Well, no, it's not the Zonk game of the week. This game actually came in at number 10. And I'm not kidding, number 10. So I believe Michael Bullock starts this one off. So Michael Bullock, I already know who you have, but just give us a quick thought on it anyway.
Yes, well, of course, with the injury report, of course, guard Justin Pugh for the Giants has a knee injury. He's out. And defensive end Jason Pierre-Paul has a knee injury. He's listed as questionable. So as far as the Browns are concerned, Cody Kessler he's out with a concussion, and Tramon Williams with a knee injury is listed as questionable. So I'm not going to waste any time on this awful match. So just give me the Giants to win this one. Eli Manning's going to go off. Beckham's going to go off. So I got nothing else to say. Flory, what's yours?
The Giants have quietly won 5 straight games and increased their playoff chances from 21% to 73% during the winning streak. With a win, New York's playoff chance will reach 80%, as it will be the clear favorite for the number 5 seed in the NFC. As for the Browns, well, with a loss, they will have a 36% chance to join the 2008 Detroit Lions as the only teams in NFL history to finish 0-16. They got a little bit of a scare. They got a little bit of a scare from the Bears at home last Sunday, but New York was able to crank out the win, and now they will get to go to Cleveland and take on the league's worst team. Cleveland is obviously terrible, and they are starting to run out of time to get that first win. I could see it happening this week if the Giants don't take them seriously, but this guy's not going to bet on that. Another one of my locks of the week. I got the Giants winning this one. No question about it. 23-10 is my final. I believe in Eli. Yes, we all do. Eli's going to have a huge game. Odell Beckham Jr., Sterling Shepard, Victor Cruz, they're all going to go off. Defense is going to feast on Kessler. There's really nothing left for me to say here. Give me the G-men all day, 23-10. Make it 6 in a row and really make things interesting in that NFC East, or as I call it, the Joe Buck and Troy Aikman division. So, MF, I know you believe in Eli, so a quick thought on this game, if you would.
Well, the ESPN matchup predictor has the Giants as 72.4% favorite to 27.4 for the Cleveland Browns. And there's actually a 0.2% that this game could end in a tie. The reason why I'm saying I'm throwing the tie in is because we've already seen 2 ties already this season. So no, don't leave anything short of anything. But the Giants normally averages about 20 points per game. The Browns about 17 points per game. The Giants gives up about 20 points per game. But here's the problem. Cleveland gives up 30 a game. Total offense, actually, it's advantage Giants through the passing. Actually, the better running team is Cleveland, no doubt about it. But defensively, this is where everything goes wrong. Cleveland gives up almost 419 yards per game, 275 yards through the air, 144 on the ground. Ouch. That will not win you a game at all. The Giants are a little more efficient through the ground. They only give up about 92 yards a game. But the one saving grace that if Cleveland has any hopes to win is you just got to throw the football, because of the fact that the Giants gives up about 276 yards per game. So they give up a chunk of yardage there. But like you said, there's just too many good weapons on the Giants side. Defensively, they're a bend not break. If Eli's on point, then the Giants goes and they romp and they blow them out. But Eli has been, he's been good, not great. 17 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. The running game, like I said, is non-existent. And Odell Beckham Jr., Victor Cruz, and the receiving core, they got to show up, because if they don't, who knows? We might have a major upset on our hands, but I'm with the Giants. I think they'll win this one. My final score is 27-13 for the G-Men. So, Anthony, let's move on.
Fair enough. And we are going to move on to our next matchup, which will be, well, a little better matchup. The San Diego Chargers going up against the Houston Texans, NRG Reliant Stadium in Houston, Texas. This game on CBS. On the call, Kevin Harlan, Rich Gannon, they will be there. The spread actually favors the San Diego Chargers by 1 to 1.5, with another spread having this as a pick'em game. Series history favors the San Diego Chargers. 4-1 is the all-time series. Houston actually won the last meeting in 2013. That was in San Diego, 31-28. Last meeting in Houston was 2010. San Diego won that one 29-23. Texans have never beaten the Chargers at home. And the Game Rater rated this game at number 6. Number 6 is how they ranked this one. So cracked the top 10, just missed out on the top 5. Despite a controversial loss on Monday night, the Texans remain one game up in the crowded AFC South. With the Colts and Titans nipping at their heels, however, Houston cannot afford to lose at home. The good news for the Texans, they are 5-0 at home and averaging 23 points a game at NRG Stadium this season. However, on the road, they're only 1-4, averaging 13 points a game on the road. The Texans have played in a lot of close games this season, which is a testament to their quality defense, and it is also the testament to their miserable offense. They had their chances to take out the Raiders on Monday night in Mexico, but they couldn't get it done and then lost. San Diego has their flaws, but offense is not one of them. And I think a strong performance from both Phillip Rivers and Melvin Gordon will help them could possibly help them grab a key road win. Now, I'm going to be real honest with you. This is a very tough game. A lot of the experts out there think San Diego can win this game. But at the same time, if I'm going by the consensus on Pigskin Pick'em, they're favoring the Houston Texans by a margin of 67% to 33%. And that's pretty good odds as far as I'm concerned. So I know I'm probably regretting this, but I'm going to go with the Houston Texans because listen to what did I just say? What did I just say about them at home? 5-0 and averaging 23 a game. Whereas they're only 1-4 and averaging 13 a game on the road. This game's in Houston last time I checked. So, and they've pulled out some wins that we didn't think they could get. So, especially that Detroit game. But you know what? I know the offense is putrid. I get it. I know Osweiler's is not the best quarterback out there. I mean, I know Miller's a so-so running back, and my man Will Fuller is he's not putting up those big numbers that he was putting up at Notre Dame the last couple of years before here. So, but because of this game being in Houston, and because of the consensus on the Pigskin Pick'em, widely favoring Houston, I'm going to take a chance here, and I'm going to go with the Houston Texans to win this game. I'm sure you guys are going to disagree with me, but, it is what it is. I'm going 27-24. That's my final score. 27-24, Houston wins. So with that being said, MF, let's bring you on in. Your thoughts on San Diego and Houston? I got Houston winning. I'm sure there's going to be a disagreement here.
Well, okay. Number one, there is a disagreement, and it's actually from your ESPN matchup predictor because they actually have San Diego 2.4 to 47.2. So right there's a slight disagreement. I mean, this seems like this could be the toughest game of the week. I mean, we're talking 52-48 overall. So obviously, yes, there is going to be a little bit of some tightness there. The ESPN prediction has San Diego at a 2-point favorite, which, normally when you have that kind of odds or that close of a margin, that doesn't really sway me one way or another. So I'm sorry, I don't get swayed that easily on that. And I do go over the body of work. Don't get me wrong. I love Lamar Miller. I love DeAndre Hopkins. I love that receiving core. I hate Brock Osweiler. He really has not shown me anything this entire season. But then again, look what happened to San Diego when they played the Miami Dolphins last week. I mean, you gotta think in the back of your mind that Phillip Rivers must be thinking, holy crud, what am I gonna do? He threw 4 interceptions, guys. 4 INTs, and 1 got ran back for the touchdown last week, and actually was the key to losing against the Dolphins 2 weeks ago. So I mean, what to say? You know what? Normally, I would like to go against Anthony Florio here, but something just tells me that I could be wrong. So I'm gonna take a tea leaf here, and I'm gonna ride with you, Florio, on this one. I'm gonna get Houston 24-21. There's something about that game that, it in my mind, it's telling me go with Houston. It's a safer bet. It's a safer pick, even though everything seems like it's not. But I guess we'll wait and see. So give me the Texans to win. Mike Bullock, is yours.
Yeah, I mean, you're right on that, but getting to the injury report, for the Chargers, Brandon Flowers has a concussion. He's listed as out, and wide receiver Travis Benjamin has a knee injury and is listed as questionable. And taking a look at the Texans, wide receiver Jalen Strong is listed as out. So, yeah, I mean, I'm actually going to go with the Houston Texans as well. And another reason why, I mean, because I mean, the Chargers always seem to have a way of giving up leads, especially in the fourth quarter, and if it comes down to that, and if they continue playing like that, I mean, the Texans are going to capitalize it, especially when you got DeAndre Hopkins, Lamar Miller. Yeah, I mean, and I know Brock Osweiler hasn't been that quarterback that they paid him to be, but I just think I think he could have a good game. I mean, not a breakout game, but a good game enough to where he could make some plays. Whether, I mean, like I said, it's to Hopkins, Fuller, or even Lamar Miller. So yeah, so give me the Texans to win this one. I'm going to say 27-24 will be my final score. So yeah, so there's really nothing more to be said except let's move on to the next game.
And I believe MF's going to be starting on this one. And it's only fitting because it's his team, the Miami Dolphins, as they're going to be at home. San Francisco 49ers going up against the Miami Dolphins at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, Florida. This game will be seen on Fox. And on the call for Fox, it's going to be Tom Brenneman with Charles Davis, Chris Spielman, and Holly Saunders, the beautiful Holly Saunders from the Golf Channel, who does occasional sideline reporting. MF's going to like this spread because this spread was almost similar to the Buffalo spread, 7-9. It's a 7 to 9 point spread in favor of the Miami Dolphins against the San Francisco 49ers. Series history favors the Miami Dolphins 6-5. Last meeting was in 2012 in San Francisco. 49ers won that one 27-13. Of course, that year they went on to the Super Bowl, but lost to the Ravens in that unforgettable and crazy Super Bowl in New Orleans. Last meeting in Miami was in 2008. The Miami Dolphins won that one by a score of 14-9. They won the AFC East that year. That was that worst the first season under Tony Sparano. And last time the 49ers won in Miami, got to go back to 1995. That was a 44-20 beatdown back in the Young and Rice days, as everybody knows. The Game Rater, ESPN Game Rater, rated this game at number 13. So it's one of the Zonk games of the week. Not a big surprise. So MF, what is there to say except after a very slow start, boy howdy, things are looking up for your Miami Dolphins, and I know you, Eric Carrier, Lisa Medeiros, and the rest of your Dolphin family couldn't be any more delighted.
Yeah, but last week the Dolphin family was really ticked off at the Miami Dolphins. We were annoyed with the Miami Dolphins. We slept behind the wheel for about 55 minutes, and then finally they decided to wake up and beat the LA Rams. The Rams basically, they shut down Jay Ajayi. Ryan Tannehill threw an interception, which was his first INT in almost 5 games. It was. I'm going to tell you, Anthony. If it was probably it almost looked like one of the most pathetic performances I ever seen from Miami. But then all of a sudden, Tannehill got his legs under him, threw a beautiful pass to Jarvis Landry. You probably seen the replays of this one where the offensive line wheeled Landry in for the touchdown. That made it 10-7, and then Miami got a break, went back down the field again, scoring a touchdown with about 30 seconds left. It was this time it was Levante Parker that got the touchdown. A beautiful catch, right? A toe tap right before he hit the end line to get the touchdown on that one. I mean, look, Miami has been, you don't know what to expect with Miami, but the one thing that we were also praising Miami about was that offensive line. Well, unfortunately now we got problems on the offensive line. Injuries is really starting to pile up on Miami's side, and it is not good. I'm just going to break, normally I would never do this, but I'm going to break tradition anyway. Mike Ponce is out. He's not playing. Brandon Albert is practically doubtful. I'm gonna rule him out. And Laramie Tunsil, our first round draft pick, he suffered an injury as well. He might not even go. So we got problems on the offensive line. This is the worst time for this to happen. Even though, yes, I know San Francisco is really bad. Is unbelievable. They're 4-1 at home. That brand new Hard Rock Stadium. They did that $1 billion renovation, and we had no idea what it was going to look like when we started it. Boy, are we paying dividends now. That stadium is beautiful. It is a real home field advantage now. The only loss that we've suffered in that Hard Rock Stadium was that inexplicable loss we had with the Tennessee Titans. But other than that, we rolled in, when Cleveland came in, we should have lost that game. I'll openly admit that. We won that. We beat Pittsburgh. We beat Buffalo. We've beaten the Jets there already. So, yeah. And right now, Miami is in the thick of it. They are looking at trying to make a playoff run now. Whoever would have thought that, after Miami started the season 1-3, started the season 1-4 because they lost that game, and then all of a sudden they have caught fire. Tannehill, he's a great micromanager. He's not the best quarterback. He's not elite. I get that, but he has been really good. And Jay Ajayi and that running game has been unbelievable. They average now 118 yards per game. So they're not going to blow you out. They're not going to destroy you or anything else. But here's the key, and this is a great stat that you can have. The 49ers is one of the worst defensive teams in the NFL. They give up, just rushing alone, 180 yards per game. Let me say that again. 180 yards per game. Jay Ajayi, J-Train, you got to be like the seller on Amtrak, because you have the green light. You can go fast, son. You can shred this 49er defense if you wanted to. They don't block that great, and we got an offensive line that actually blocks pretty damn good when they need to. So, I mean, this is our moment. This could be the game. There's nothing more to say. I think the Dolphins will win this one. 31-13 is my final. Actually, no, 30-13 is my final score. Dolphins win. Mike Bullock, I give it to you.
All right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course, when it comes for the injury report, I know Fletcher already he talked about it. Really not that many big names on but yeah, I mean, you talk about the Dolphins, like you just mentioned, Brandon Albert is doubtful with a wrist injury. Pouncey with a hip injury, he's out. So, and Ndamukong Suh has a knee injury. Jarvis Landry has a shoulder injury. Stills has a calf injury, and Laramie Tunsil has a shoulder injury, and Mario Williams has an ankle injury, and they're all listed as questionable. So, yeah, there's really nothing more to say. I mean, I got the Dolphins winning this one big. Jay Ajayi is going to go off in a big way, maybe somewhere over 150 yards. Because, like you said, that Miami, that 49er defense is, it's atrocious. So, yeah, and I think the defense will have a field day with Colin Kaepernick. So, there's really nothing more for me to say. Florio, it is yours.
Like the Giants, the Dolphins are in the midst of a 5-game winning streak that has featured a number of fourth-quarter comebacks. Unlike the Giants, their path to the playoffs is much less clear. with 2 wildcard spots in their conference likely to be claimed by the AFC West. Miami has a 28% chance to make the playoffs, and those odds would jump only slightly to 32% with a win expected here. Miami was able to pull victory from the grasp of defeat against the Rams in the Coliseum with 2 late touchdowns at the conclusion of what was an ugly football game. However, wins are wins, and the Dolphins are getting them at the moment. You have to give Colin Kaepernick a little bit of credit because San Francisco has shown more life with him, albeit with no wins. Factor in that this is an early game, and that is why the Dolphins are my lock of the week to win this game. 21-10 is my final score. Miami should have no trouble with this one. Ryan Tannehill should have another solid game. I think Ajayi's going to get back on track. I think he's going to go off. I expect him to have well over 100 yards again. Receiving core, Jarvis Landry, Kenny Stills, they'll probably do enough. And I think the defense will get to Kaepernick and Carlos Hyde and keep that offense in check. So I got the Dolphins. It's my lock of the week. No question about that. So 21-10, Miami wins. So with that said, let's move on to our final 1 o'clock kickoff. And that is the Los Angeles Rams going up against the New Orleans Saints in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans. The Rams lead the all-time series 40-31. Last meeting was in 2013 in St. Louis, back when they were the St. Louis Rams. 27-16, the Rams won that. Matter of fact, the Rams have won the last 2 meetings in a row. Both of those were in St. Louis. 27-16 in 2013, and then the other was in 2011. That was a 31-21 Ram win. Last meeting in New Orleans was in 2010. Saints won that one going away, 31-13. The last time the Rams won in New Orleans, it was in 2007. 37-29 was the final. That was as the St. Louis Rams, of course. And it'll be the first time that these two teams are meeting with the Rams as the LA Rams since 94. And when was the last time the Rams won in New Orleans as the LA Rams? Got to go back to 1989. Actually, no, correction, 1993. That was a 23-20. That was the last time the LA Rams won in New Orleans. So a little trivia factor there. This game is on Fox. Chris Myers, Rondé Barber, and Jennifer Hale will be on the call, and the spread is in favor of the New Orleans Saints. Another 7 to 9 point spread that favors New Orleans, and the game rater rated this game at number 14. So it's one of the 3 Zonk games of the week. So I do believe that that Michael Bullock starts this one off. So Michael Bullock, Los Angeles Rams, New Orleans Saints in the Superdome. Your thoughts on this one?
Yes, when it comes to the injury report, no real big names for the Rams. For the Saints, of course, Cadet has a toe injury. Running back Mark Ingram has a concussion. They're listed as questionable. So, yeah, I mean, the Saints they got a huge win on that Thursday night matchup against Carolina, and what was a real close one, but the Saints came onto that one. The Rams, like basically said, they lost an ugly game to the Miami Dolphins. So, yeah. So basically, because of that, I got the New Orleans Saints winning this one. I'm gonna go 31-14. It's gonna be my final score. I think Drew Brees will have a solid game, and if Ingram does play, he'll have a solid game on the ground. I think the receiving corps will play big as well. So, yeah, there's really nothing more to say except give me the Saints to win this one. So, Florio, it is yours.
This game may not have the playoff impact of others, but it's worth watching how Jared Goff responds in his second NFL start. In his debut, the Rams were conservative, 4.3 yards per attempt with their young quarterback, but a trip to New Orleans against one of the league's worst pass defenses could jumpstart Goff's career. Jared Goff didn't show you a whole lot in his NFL debut, and none of us really expected him to be throwing the ball all over the yard and going crazy. Their loss to the Miami Dolphins was painful, as they came so late in the game after we thought the game was in hand, but their mess of an offense now has to go on the road in the Superdome and take on a Saints team that is never an easy out at home. So with that being said, I'm going with the New Orleans Saints to win this game as well. My final score, 31-21, New Orleans wins. Drew Brees, huge game. Mark Ingram should have a solid game. The receiving core with Brandon Cooks, I think he's going to have a big game as well. I don't think Goff's going to do much of anything. I think he'll have a solid game at best. Todd Gurley, solid game at best. And Kenny Britt, solid game at best. But the Saints have just too much firepower right now, especially in that dome. So give me the New Orleans Saints in this one, 31-21. That's my final. So, MF, your thoughts on the Rams and the Saints in New Orleans?
And one of the biggest locks of the week, the ESPN matchup predictor has New Orleans 82% to 18% against the Rams. You guys pretty much said everything you needed to say. I'm just going to give you one little tidbit. Like you said, Anthony, the biggest problem is the defense for New Orleans, because they give up almost 395 yards total, 293 through the air, 102 on the ground. But the thing is, what makes them great, Drew Brees, he averages almost 328 yards per game, and they put up almost 29 points per game, even though they give up the same amount, 29 per game. I love New Orleans. This is an easy game for me, but I'm gonna give it a little more closer. I think it's gonna be 28-14 is my final score. So, it's to win. Let's move on.
And now we're going to move on to our late games, and we're going to start it off with our 4:05 kickoff on Fox. It'll be the Seattle Seahawks going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This game will be at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida. This game's going to be on Fox, and on the call for Fox, it's going to be Kenny Albert with Daryl Moose Johnston, and Laura Oakman. Spread favors the Seattle Seahawks. 6 to 6.5 is the spread in favor of the Seahawks. Series history also favors Seattle. That is an 8-4 count. Last meeting was 2013 in Seattle. Seahawks won that one 27-24 in overtime. Last meeting in Tampa was in 2010, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers actually put a whooping on the Seahawks in that year, 38-15. Seattle has not won in Tampa Bay since 2006. That was a 23-7 win for the Seahawks. The year after they went to the Super Bowl, as you know. Game Raider, this game came in at number 15. It's basically the number 2 Zonk game of the week. And I believe I start this one off. So, is there a more confusing team in the NFL than the Buccaneers? Tampa Bay is 4-1 on the road, including quality wins against Kansas City, Atlanta, and Carolina, and only 1-4 at home. With Seattle, the NFC's top-ranked team in FPI, coming to town, the Bucs need to figure out their home woes to stay in the NFC South race. They currently have a 10% chance to make the playoffs, but those chances would fall to about 4% with a loss. It wasn't the prettiest game ever, but the Buccaneers pulled a pretty nice upset on the road in Kansas City last Sunday. They now return home having won 2 in a row, but they also have to host a Seattle team that is playing some pretty good football at the moment. Tampa Bay has a shot to pull the upset, and I think they can keep it close, but I don't think they can win it in the end. I got the Seattle Seahawks winning this game. My final score is 20-17 in favor of Seattle. Russell Wilson will have another solid game. Thomas Rawls in the running game, he should have a solid game. The receiving core with Doug Baldwin, Jermaine Kearse, Jimmy Graham, I think they'll all have solid games. I think the defense, I think the Legion of Boom will get to Jameis Winston just enough. Doug Martin, I think he could have a solid game. Mike Evans should have another solid game as well. And that's pretty much all I can say on that. So Tampa can keep it close. They got a decent young team. I think Bucky will fire the cannons a couple times, but ultimately I do not see Bucky firing the cannon of victory, I'm sorry to say. So 20-17, Seattle wins, and Tampa keeps their winning ways going. So MF, Seattle, Tampa Bay, Raymond James Stadium, one of our favorites with Bucky and the Cannons. I don't think we're going to be getting that. I don't think we're going to be getting that cannon of victory this time around.
No, not the cannon of victory. You will get the cannon a couple of times because I do believe that Tampa will score, but not that often. I got Seattle. I'm not going to waste too much of you guys' time, folks. 24-14, final score. Bullock is yours.
All right. When it comes to the injury report for the teams, of course, starting with the Seahawks. Let me pull it up here. Give me just a minute. Oh, I thought I had it, but oh, sorry about that. I thought I had it there, but oh, there we go. Mike Bennett has a knee injury, and he's still out, so we're not even going to see him again. And CJ Procise, the breakout running back with the shoulder injury, he's out as well, and so is safety Earl Thomas. So that's a big loss. Some big losses there. So yeah, not really much more. And of course, when it comes to the Buccaneers, I'm trying to find. Of course, Jacquizz Rodgers with a foot injury, and Brent Grimes with a quadricep injury they're listed as questionable. So yeah, there's really nothing more for me to say. I mean, I got the Seahawks winning this one. Russell Wilson will have a solid game, and I think you also have a solid game from Jimmy Graham, and I think Richard Sherman will make some big plays on the defensive side of the ball. So give me Seattle to win this one. So now let's move on to our 425 matchups.
And our first 425 matchup originally was scheduled to be Sunday Night Football on NBC, but the flex schedulers, they said, no way, we're not putting this crap fest of a game on Sunday night, and praise the Lord for that, because who would have wanted to watch this game on a Sunday night? Not me. But this game got moved to 425, which honestly, I think this should have been bumped all the way up to 1, if I'm going to be real honest with you, because who's going to want to watch this crap fest of a game? The only one I know is Michael Bullock and the rest of Patriot Nation, as it is the New England Patriots.
I will.
Yeah, of course you will, because you're loyal. The New England Patriots going up against the New York Jets. This game will be at MetLife Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey, in the Meadowlands. This game is going to be on CBS. Yes, unfortunately, we're going to have to sit through this snooze fest of a game. Calling the game for CBS, it'll be the legendary Greg Gumbel with Trent Green and our old friend from Nesson, the beautiful Jamie Erdahl. At least there's that. So that's a good reason right there. Jamie Erdahl. Patriots, of course, are the favorites. What else is new? 7.5 to 8.5 is the spread for the Patriots. This is their first meeting of 2 this season. The other meeting will be next month on Christmas Eve, Saturday afternoon, Christmas Eve in Foxborough. But this game's in New York in the Meadowlands. 57 to 53 with one tie. It's the series history in favor of the New England Patriots. The one tie was in 1966. That was in Boston, back when they were the Boston Patriots. 24-all was that one. Last year, both teams split. Both teams won at home. Patriots won in Foxborough, 30 to 23, and the Jets actually won in New York, 26 to 20 in overtime. Major upset by the Jets in that one. Patriots last beat the Jets in New York in 2014. That was a 17-16 final. Game Raider, where did the Game Raider rank this? Zonk Game of the Week. I believe I let off on the last one, so MF, you're going to have to start this one off. Zonk Game of the Week, no big surprise. Patriots should have no trouble with this god-awful Jet team in the Meadowlands, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. No problem with the Jets whatsoever. The one thing that you had to think about is, what's going to be the condition of Rob Gronkowski. Remember, Gronk did not play last week. He did suffer that injury. What's his status for the game? Is he going to play? Is he not going to play? One factor. But here's the thing. when you talk about the New England Patriots, and I must apologize, I was actually eating some Skittles. That's why I kind of got that's why you hear me munching and then like being silent for a little bit there. But the one thing I got to say about New England is it doesn't matter what they throw at you. They beat you so many ways. Brady, LeGarrette Blount, a couple of times it's Edelman, sometimes it's Amendola, sometimes it's Martavius Bennett, their new acquisition that they got. Sometimes it is the defense. The defense steps up and they make a couple of great plays here and there. So the one thing that you need to know is that they can beat you so many ways. For the Jets, the one thing I would say is they do have a silver lining with the running game. Matt Forte is actually a pretty good running back and has proven it this season. He's done very well. But Ryan Fitzpatrick got off. I mean, their quarterback situation is a joke. I'm not even going to dignify it to be legitimate at all. No way, no how. Anybody who wants to challenge me on that, be my guest. When it comes to their receiving core, I mean, Decker has been injured, so you never know what to expect. Marshall's good. Brandon Marshall, when he's on point, he actually can be a good receiver. Like I said, the only saving grace is their running game, and sometimes their defense bends not breaks. And trust me, when they go up against the Patriots, like you said, last year, something kooky happened and the Jets won that game. I think what happened was New England took the Jets too damn lightly. They didn't think anything else. And plus, there was also one other factor, and I'm going to be real honest
The coin
with you.
toss.
No, not the coin toss. Is because New England was scared of Pittsburgh and they threw the game. Michael Bullock. They threw the game so that the Steelers couldn't make the playoffs. And then the other factor which shot them in the foot was when they threw the game against the Miami Dolphins. So no, it wasn't the coin toss. It's because the Patriots didn't want to win that game because they were a bunch of bleeps because they didn't want to face the Pittsburgh Steelers. Right or wrong?
Well, I think you're right on this because I mean they should have won that game against the Jets and the Dolphins. I guess they took both of them lightly, and obviously they, like you said, they didn't want to face Pittsburgh. Obviously, champion.
Thank you.
That is if they had beaten Denver in that divisional round last year.
I rest my case. I don't even need to go any more further. I don't.
No need to.
Patriots win. They win this easily, 35-13. They blow out the Jets at the Meadowlands like they're supposed to. Because if they let this game get away, if they lose to the Jets, this gets really interesting in the AFC. Remember, New England's got a 2-game lead. Miami's hoping for some luck here. And if New England does take a dive and the Dolphins win, Miami's 1 game back with about maybe 5 to play. And then remember, that game against Miami on New Year's Day, that becomes even more important than ever before. But 1 game at a time before we get there. The Jets and New England has to happen. San Francisco and Miami has to happen. So, just food for thought. Bullock, I give it to you.
Yes, let's go to the injury report. Matthew Slater, who's a special teamer, he's actually out with a foot injury. Martellus Bennett with an ankle injury. Julian Edelman with a foot injury. Rob Gronkowski with a chest injury. Chris Hogan with a back injury. And Tom Brady with a knee injury is listed as questionable. But I do expect. I think Brady, Edelman, and Bennett. I think will play. As far as Gronk and Hogan goes, we'll wait and see. As far as the Jets are concerned, Nick Mangold, who has an ankle injury, is listed as so. Yeah, there's really. I got the Patriots winning this one big time. Brady's going to have a solid game. Julian, solid game. Same thing with Martellus Bennett and LeGarrette Blount. The Patriots, they better not take this Jets team lightly. I'm sure Bill Belichick right now is hammering not taking the team. They're not taking lightly, or this could have a bad result. What's yours?
Excuse me. It's safe to assume that the 8-2 Patriots will make the playoffs and the 3-7 Jets will not. There is reason to watch this game beyond celebrating the 4-year anniversary of the butt fumble, as Tom Brady is seeking his 200th career win, including the playoffs, which would tie him with his arch nemesis / frenemy, Peyton Manning, for the most by a quarterback in NFL history. It looks like Todd Bowles is going back to Ryan Fitzpatrick under center in what is certainly an odd decision, but regardless of whether Fitzpatrick or Bryce Petty starts under center, it will take a whale of an effort to upset the Patriots. New England didn't pull away from San Francisco until late in their contest in Santa Clara, but this team is still too good, and the Jets are still too bad to the point that I would be surprised by an upset. I got the New England Patriots winning this game. My final score, 28-13. New England wins. Tom Brady, he'll get that 200th career win. He's going to have another big game as his revenge tour continues, as it stops off in the Meadowlands. He should have an easy time. LeGarrette Blount, Dion Lewis, Martellus Bennett, Danny Amendola, Julian Edelman, they're all going to have big games. Defense will get to Fitzpatrick and contain the running game and shut down Marshall and the receiving corps. And I'm sure they'll make Revis look like even more of a stupid idiot than he's already looked like this past season. Anywho, so there's nothing left for me to say. New England wins. My final score, 28-13, for Michael Bullock's team, as well as the rest of Patriot Nation out there, including several members of my church family. So that's all there is to say on that. 28-13, New England wins. So let's move on to the other 425 game on CBS, and the game that I wish we were getting, because this is easily the more intriguing matchup. The Carolina Panthers going up against the Oakland Raiders at the O.CO Coliseum, the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum in Oakland, California. Games on CBS, and even though you saw them on Thanksgiving yesterday, we're going to get them again. Hello, friends. Jim Nantz, Phil Simms, Tracy Wolfson, they will be in Oakland for the Panthers and the Raiders. Raiders are 3-point favorites at home against Carolina. Series history is 3-2 in favor of Carolina. Last meeting was in 2012 in Carolina. The Panthers won that one 17-6. Matter of fact, the Panthers have won each of the last two meetings by the same exact score, 17-6. 2012, the last meeting in Carolina, and the last meeting in Oakland in 2008. Carolina also won 17-6. Raiders last beat the Panthers in 2004. That was in Carolina. That was a 27-24 win. Last time the Raiders won at home against Carolina, back in the year 2000, a 52-9 beatdown on Christmas Eve. I remember that very vividly. That was on Christmas Eve day in the year 2000. Remember that very well. So 3-2 in favor of Carolina in the series history. And the game rater, where did they rate this game? They rated it at number 11, just shy of the top 10. So number 11 for Carolina and Oakland. So I believe it's Michael Bullock who starts this one off. So Bullock, Carolina, Oakland, your matchup on this on one of the sleeper games of the week, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, of course. When it comes to the injuries, of course, Ryan Khalil with a shoulder injury, or Luke with a Brad Gott with a knee injury. Colin Jones and Leonard Johnson with a chest injury. They're both listed as questionable. And for the Raiders, of course, Michael Crabtree with an ankle injury. Rodney Hudson with a knee injury. Running back Latavius Murray and guard Kelechi Osenele with a knee injury. They're listed as questionable. The Panthers, yeah, they've been struggling, but they can't. We still got Jonathan Stewart and Greg Olsen, but hottest team, besides the Dallas Cowboys, is the Oakland Raiders. What you've seen from Derek Carr and Latavius Murray and Crabtree. The Raiders fans haven't had that much to cheer with their Raiders in the past few years. Well, first, they're actually excited about this young Raiders team, and right now they're leading that AFC West, which going into the season, which I thought was impossible because I was thinking there was going to be another mediocre season. But yeah, gotta give credit to team and of course Jack Del Rio, and I'm gonna go with the Oakland Raiders to win this one. To say 28-21 is gonna be my final score. So David Carr, I think, will have a solid game. The Latavius Murray will have a solid game on the ground. Michael Crabtree will make some plays on the receiving side, and the defense will have just enough to stop Camden. So give me that to win this one. Florio, it is yours.
The Raiders are 8-2 and off to their best 10-game start since 2001, behind Derek Carr's NFL-leading 95.4 total QBR in the final 5 minutes of regulation. The Raiders have repeatedly found ways to pull out close games, so even if Carolina takes an early lead, this is not a game worth shutting off. Oakland got themselves a big win at a neutral site in Estadio Azteca on Monday evening. They have now won 4 games in a row, and they look to be shaping up well for the playoffs. They will get to host Carolina this Sunday, and while any Cam Newton-led team will be in the mix, I don't think their defense will be able to keep Derek Carr and the Raider offense at bay. So I got the Oakland Raiders winning this game. My final score, I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair. 33-27, the Oakland Raiders win this game. Derek Carr, big game. I agree with Bullet's sentiment on that. I think Latavius Murray will have another solid game. I'm hoping for that. Michael Crabtree, Amari Cooper, Seth Roberts on the receiving core. Although I do think Newton will have another solid game for Carolina. With Jonathan Stewart, Fozzie Whitaker on the running game, and Ted Ginn Jr., as well as Greg Olsen, Devin Funchess. I think they'll have solid games, but the Raiders right now, for the first time in a long time, I'm actually saying this, the Raiders are actually fun to watch. It's the first time since the days of Rich Gannon and Jerry Rice and Charlie Garner and that great team that they had with Chucky Gruden as their coach. But Jack Del Rio, man, with the way this is going right now, Jack Del Rio, in my honest opinion, should be the coach of the year in the NFL. I don't care what anybody says. He should be the coach of the year, especially if the Raiders keep doing what they're doing right now. So
I agree. I agree 100%.
Why not? For the first time in 15 years, for the first time since they went to the Super Bowl in 2002, going into 2003.
The Raiders and their fans have something to be excited about.
Especially, and one Raider fan in particular that MF actually knows, a good friend of his by the name of Ed Williams. And I know MF's going to wax poetic on that in just a moment. But nonetheless, in what I think will be what could be a 5-star game with a Shakespearean drama in the Bay Area and the Black Hole, 33-27, it's the Raiders winning. So give me the Oakland Raiders to keep their winning ways going. And
Raiders.
Yeah, so those friends of Fletch's in the Black Hole are going to have another reason to celebrate after that great win on a couple of Sunday nights ago against Denver. So MF, let's get your thoughts on it. Raiders looking for their 5th in a row, looking to keep up their winning ways against the defending NFC champs. And I bet your boy Ed Williams has got to be delighted. Has got to be going through the roof right now, but in a good way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, there's really nothing more to say about it. I just want to say that I think the Raiders are going to win. I'm not gonna blow smoke. I'm not gonna go into this big soliloquy or anything like that. I'm gonna get straight to the point, straight up. You're going into the black hole. You're going into Oakland. There was that little video that I said that was talking about how the Raiders are back, and it was all about the silver and black and the tradition and how it didn't matter the penalties, and yes, they do commit a lot of penalties. They just know what they do. AC/DC, Derek Carr and Amari Cooper, they load up, they play out of their minds. They're the best 1-2 combo in the NFL alongside Gronkowski and Brady. That's the other duo that is probably the most lethal. And then you got Latavius Murray, and what a season he's been having. I'm telling you, this Raider team is one for the ages, man. They are throwing it. They're slinging it each and every week, and they're just they're doing it their way, the Raider way. Brute force, nasty defense. Their offense can fly or through the ground. They'll beat you up, and they take no nonsense, no prisoners, and they will get to you. They will try to beat you up and spit you out and would rub it in your face and would not even give a you know what. So yes, Raiders win. Let's move on.
And we move on to Sunday Night Football on NBC. This game was originally scheduled to be a 4:25 game on CBS, but because of the Patriots and the Jets being a stink fest, this game got flex scheduled to Sunday Night Football, and now this is a Sunday Night Football game. A battle, a huge game in the AFC West with major implications, no question here. The Kansas City Chiefs going up against the Denver Broncos, Sports Authority Field at Mile High in Denver, Colorado. First of 2 meetings this year. Their second meeting will be on Christmas night. Merry Christmas, after you exchanged all your gifts and had the big dinner with all the trimmings with your family. Settle down and enjoy what will be an equally exciting game. That game will be an Arrowhead in Kansas City, of course. But this one's in Denver first. Kansas City leads the all-time series 57-54. They split last year, both teams winning on the road. Denver winning in Kansas City. Who will ever forget that game? MF and I won't forget that game. That was in week 2 on a Thursday night. Denver won miraculously with a scoop and score in the final seconds, and a rare screaming Anthony Florio moment that I know Michael Fletcher will never forget. That was the game in Kansas City. The game in Denver, though, that was all Kansas City. They won that one 29-13. It marked their first win in Denver since 2011, as the Broncos had won the previous few meetings. Denver won. Denver's last win in Denver against KC was 2014. That was a 24-17 win. So, and of course, with Sunday Night Football, of course, you can't forget about the great. Question is, will Al Michaels be there, or will it be Mike Tirico again? Because Mike Tirico's filled in for Al Michaels the last 2 telecasts. So we're gonna have to keep an eye out and see if it'll either be Al Michaels, or if not, it'll be Mike Tirico filling in again. But Chris Collinsworth will be there. Michelle Tafoya will be there in Denver. And the spread favors the Denver Broncos by 3.5 points across the board. And this game, gentlemen, number 3 game of the week. And MF and I can make the argument that this could be our game of the week right here, considering the ramifications of this one. It's safe to say that every remaining game involving a combination of the 7-3 Chiefs, 7-3 Broncos, and 8-2 Raiders will be important going forward. The first of 2 meetings between these AFC West contenders, they also play in Week 16 on Christmas night, matches 2 teams ranked in the top 6 in defensive efficiency, facing off against quarterbacks struggling to make plays down the field. the playoffs started today, these teams would be the AFC's wild card representatives, but a loss by either team could drop their playoff chances into the mid to high 50% range. The AFC West race is getting hot and heavy with 3 teams within a game of the division lead right now. And based on both of these teams, based on how both of these teams are built, this may be a low score. That would seem to favor the Broncos, and I also think that they are more solid offensively than their opponents are here. I don't want to put too much in their upset loss to the Buccaneers, but Kansas City may be a little too much of smoke and mirrors right now. So with that being said, I'm going with the Denver Broncos to win this game. My final score, 21-20. The Denver Broncos defeat the Kansas City Chiefs in Denver on Sunday night. Trevor Siemian will have a solid game. Devontae Booker in the running game. I think he'll have a solid game in the receiving core with Demaryius Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders. I think they'll, and of course, I think their defense will definitely get involved. Von Miller, DeMarcus Ware. I think they'll get to Alex Smith, and they'll keep the running game in check. They'll keep the receiving core in check with Kelsey and Macklin and those guys. But no doubt about it. If I'm going to be real honest with you, I think this is the real game of the week in the AFC. I don't care what anybody says. And this could easily be the Anthony Florio, Michael Fletcher special right here. So 21-20, Denver wins. So MF, let's bring you on in. You are, of course, as you know, the Phil Simms to my Jim Nance. I think this is obviously going to be our game here based on the ramifications here. So with that being said, hello, friends, and do that thing I like, the Phil Simms style.
Well, Anthony, it's going to be very interesting. Kansas City, what do they bring to the table? Is this their moment? Is this their time? Can they deliver in one way or another? All I can say is this. How on earth is Denver going to try to beat this team? Because Kansas City's been really good, and this is a major, major playoff battle. Exciting. It's thrilling. It's going to be a great matchup, no doubt about it. To me, honestly, I'm going to say it. I think Denver's going to win it. I think they're going to win it. It's going to be a pretty tight game, like you said, pretty close, low scoring. How close is this going to be? 14-13. That's my prediction. I think it's going to be a great matchup. Don't expect much because I think these teams are going to be evenly matched, but I think the Broncos will have enough to win. So, yeah, Broncos win. Bullock, it's yours.
All right. When it comes to the board on both sides of the court, down forward with the hamstring injury, and wide receiver Jeremy Macklin with a groin injury, they're listed as out. And defensive tackle Terry Poe with a back injury, and cornerback Marcus Peters with a hip injury, they're listed as questionable. And the Broncos, no big names. So, this is a big game, a big divisional game that could have major, major implications for who's really going to represent in the wild card and maybe still be in that AFC West race. But yeah, so it's tough to in this one. I mean, they are at home, and in Kansas City, I'd probably go with the Chiefs in this one, but it's in Denver, and of course, you still got that defense, of course, led by Von Miller, DeMarcus Ware, and Talib, and of course, on the offense, you still got Demaryius Thomas, Antonio Brown. I mean, this will be a close one, no doubt about it. I'm going to say 24-21 is going to be the final score. So, that being said, Florio, it's on to Monday Night Football.
Last time I checked, Bullock, Antonio Brown does not play for Denver.
I meant Sand. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah, I think that's where you were going with that. So,
I don't know why I got that so confused.
no worries. I mean, two great receivers. I don't blame you. So, all right, let's move on to Monday Night Football, our final game of the week here.
Not true on my part.
Yep, Dipsy do bought you, baby. No doubt about it. So, Green Bay Packers, Philadelphia Eagles, Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. ESPN will have it. Of course, you know who will be there. Sean McDonough, John Gruden, Lisa Salters. They'll be on the call. Spread favors the Philadelphia Eagles by 4 points. Series history, that's in favor of the Green Bay Packers, 25-14. Last meeting was 2014. That was in Lambeau. Packers, holiday hand the Eagles that day, 53-20. Last meeting in Philadelphia was 2010. The Packers won that one, 27-20. And then later that season, they would meet again in an NFC wildcard playoff matchup. And the Packers won that one. Packers won that 21-16 on their way to Super Bowl 45, where they would, of course, go on to win that thing. They went on to win the whole thing that year. And Philly's last home win against the Packers was 2006. That was a 31-9 beatdown. Their last win against the Packers overall was 2013 in Green Bay, 27-13. And our game rater rated this game at number 7. So I believe MF starts this one off. So MF, Green Bay Packers, Philadelphia Eagles. What is going on with the Packers? Are you sure this is the same team that, is always in the mix in the NFC? It doesn't look like it to me.
I am stunned at what Green Bay's been doing lately. There's something definitely wrong with Green Bay. I can't put my finger on it. Could it be Aaron Rodgers? Could it just be the way that their offensive coordinating, like their offense is being run? Is it Mike McCarthy? Could it be the head coach himself? Do they need to get rid of him? Defensively, you're not getting to the quarterback. You're making mistakes left and right. Your running game is not that. Your run defense is not that great. You're getting pounded on so many different levels. And to make matters worse, now you're playing a Philadelphia Eagle team that, they got a good running game. They got Carson Wentz, who's a pretty decent quarterback. They got receivers and a ferocious defense can get to the quarterback. I hate to say this, but Green Bay, you got a serious problem on your hands, and this is going to make matters worse. You're not winning on Monday night. I can't believe I'm about to say this, but fly, Eagles, fly. 27-23. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I mean, what is going on with Green Bay? I mean, this is not the same Green Bay team that has, of course, won Super Bowl 45 and has been to the playoffs for so many times, and especially where they were this close to getting back to the Super Bowl that year, of course. A Super Bowl 49, of course, they lost to Seattle in the NFC Championship game. So this is not the same Green Bay Packers team. And RELAX, how about PANIC, panic? Because, I mean, this team is, I hate to say this, but they're sucking right now. And I can't believe I'm saying that, and I'm actually going to agree with Michael Fletcher in this one. I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles to win this one. 24-21. Carson Wentz is going to have a good game. The running game, I think, will play a pretty good factor in this one. And, yeah, there's really nothing more for me to say. Oh, it is yours.
After 4 straight losses, the Packers' playoff hopes are hanging by a thread. Green Bay currently has an 11% chance to make the playoffs, 11th in the NFC, after beginning the season as FPI's most likely playoff team. With a loss, Green Bay's playoff chances would fall to 5%. Similarly, the Eagles' playoff odds would fall from 28% to about 12% with a loss at home on Monday night. it is really going south quickly for the Packers as they have lost 4 games in a row, and now they go on the road for a second straight week. Their secondary is a fiasco at the moment and helped Kirk Cousins look like Sammy Baugh last Sunday night. Philadelphia isn't playing so hot at the moment either, and Carson Wentz has had his rookie moments. But until I see some reason to believe in the Packers turning things around, I agree with you, boys. I'm going to take the Eagles as well. 28-27 is my final score. Carson Wentz, I think he's going to have another. I think he's going to have a solid. I think he's going to have a bounce back big game here. He hasn't had one of those in a while. I think he can get one easily here against that putrid Packer defense. And then Jordan Matthews and Aguilar and the rest of that receiving core, I think they'll do well as well. I think the defense might make a big play or two. Don't get me wrong. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have another big game. He's been having a lot of big games lately, even though they haven't been resulting in the W's like we're used to seeing. But I think he'll have a big game here. Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb. The running game needs work, obviously, because of the injury to Eddie Lacy and the whole 9 yards. So that's pretty much it on that. So my final score, 28-27, Philadelphia. Fly, Eagles, fly in the link on Monday night. So that's going to lead us now into our power rankings here. I'm going to tell you right now, my top two teams are no-brainers. That's all I can. Heck, I can say top 3 are no-brainers right now. But 4 through 10, that is going to be a chore. I am not going to lie to you folks. It will be a chore. We couldn't do power rankings last week because we were on time constraints. Because we started late last week, as you know. But we're back this week. We started on time this time, and that's pretty much all I can say on that. So I will start it off because I know Michael Bullock is not going to be ready yet. So which is not a problem at all. So I'm going to start it off at number 10. And my number 10, this is an easy one for me, believe it or not. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay Buccaneers are my number 10 in the rankings this week. I mean, especially the main reason why is because of what they did last week. They went into Kansas City and beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead. Not an easy thing to do, but they somehow managed to get it done, 19-17. They currently sit at 5-5. They do, however, have a very tough schedule ahead with Seattle coming in, and then they got to go to San Diego, and then they have New Orleans coming in. Then they got to go to Dallas, and then they got to go to New Orleans, and then they end the year at home against Carolina. So I don't know about Tampa's playoff chances, but I do know Tampa Bay, 19-17 winners. That's the biggest win they've had in a long time, going into Kansas City and beating what had been a previously red-hot team in their house, one of the 2 loudest stadiums in the NFL, the other, of course, being CenturyLink Field and the 12th man in Seattle. So huge win for Tampa, and it's because of that they most certainly deserve to be in these rankings this week. I don't care what anybody says. So my number 10 is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, MF, what do you think about that?
I wish I can make an argument that they don't deserve to be here, but I will admit, Florio, you kind of strong-armed on this one. So, look, Tampa has won, no doubt about it, 2 in a row. They're 5-5. I guess I can give that the benefit of the doubt, and obviously, I will agree with you on that, and I'll say yes. All right, you got it. So yeah, number 10, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, it's all yours, man.
Yes, my number 10, I'm going to make it unanimous. I'm going with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in this one. So, yeah, you guys pretty much, Florian pretty much went down the line. So, let's go to Fletch for his number 9.
Yep. All right, I'm at your number 9.
Well, again, like you said, this is never going to be easy because there's always going to be somebody's going to have some hurt feelings somewhere along the way and whatnot. And trust me, like Anthony said, I think once you get to the very beginning, it's really tough. Well, at the bottom of the level, but then once you get closer and closer to the top of the rankings, then it gets a little more easier. My number 9 is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, retroactive from last week, that would have been a 5-5 record. They did win last week, so I would give them the benefit of the doubt. And obviously, after what they did yesterday, they're going to be in a very good position next week to go even further. So, because we have to be fair, and this is retroactive, my number 9 would be the Pittsburgh Steelers. Michael Bullock, what says you?
All right, I'm gonna go with the Pittsburgh Steelers as my number 9 as well. So yeah, I mean Fletch pretty much talked about it. I mean, we have to give them the benefit of a doubt, and they got a big win to put them back above 500. So yeah, so give me the Pittsburgh Steelers at number 9. So Florio, I know you're probably gonna disagree with us, but
Yeah, clearly.
yeah, but let's just let him enlighten us anyway with who he has as his number 9.
No, I agree. I actually have Pittsburgh at number 9 as well.
Whoa!
No, I'm dead serious. They're retroactive to
Yay
last
for
week.
us.
They're retroactive to last week. Let's not forget that. If this was next week, maybe I would have to make the argument, but no. They beat the Cleveland Browns, for goodness sakes. I mean, everybody and their mother beats the Cleveland Browns. Let's not kid ourselves. They're going 0-16. I'm calling that right here and now.
I thought you wouldn't have him in there because of that reason.
No. The record, they handled their business against Cleveland. You're supposed to do that. And it ended a 4-game losing streak. The second half of that streak, of course, tough luck losses to Baltimore and Dallas, but they got back on track. And then, of course, the win last night, the easy win against Indy. I mean, definitely got to take that into consideration. And they're technically a first-place team right now because they're in a race with Baltimore in the AFC North. And that rivalry could end up getting interesting again for the first time in a while. So no, I'm right there with you boys. Pittsburgh Steelers are number 9. Michael Bullock, I'm guessing you're not ready for number 8, so I guess I'm going to have to start it off again. So, which, of course, is never easy. But, all right, let's see. Number 8, huh? All right. Well, looking back at a couple of weeks ago in my rankings, because remember, we didn't have any rankings last week due to our time constraints from our very late start a week ago. Let me see. Yeah, Houston Texans are one of those dud teams. They're gone. I got them out. I think that's pretty much it. So, and let me see who else I have. Believe us, folks, it's going to get a lot easier once we get into the upper echelon of the rankings. I'm not gonna lie to you. So, and I haven't, and my other dud, believe it or not, is the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, after a 9-point loss to Philadelphia in Philadelphia, where they looked absolutely terrible, I got to knock them out. And I also have to say the same for the Baltimore Ravens as well. So they're out as well. So, so with that being said, I think now I can dive back in to number 8. And my number 8, I will go with. Now, remember, these are retroactive to the week before. They're not. Yesterday's results do not count or reflect in any way. My number 8 is the Washington Redskins, because they pounded the Green Bay Packers 42-24, and their game against the Washington Redskins yesterday. I don't know if you heard about this, guys. Most watched regular season game in Fox history. How about that, huh? You believe that? So, rightfully so, because that was an exciting game for the most part. But Washington Redskins are my number 8 because, like I said, they pounded Green Bay on Sunday night, 42-24. They're going to take a hit in the rankings next week. They might even be out of them. But they might take a slight hit next week because of their loss to Dallas yesterday. But Kirk Cousins, man, oh my Lord in heaven, has he been unbelievable? I mean, he's been doing things that, he's been putting up points aplenty. I mean, what else is there to say? I mean, the offense is clicking on all cylinders, and even in that tough loss to Dallas yesterday, Washington's still a good team, and I think they still deserve to be in the rankings. So, based on the result from last week, however, they're in the rankings for this week. Maybe not next week, but we'll see. For now, they're number 8, the Washington Redskins. All hail the Redskins. MF, what says you?
I want to make an argument here, but I'm not because, like you said, retroactive to last week, Washington Redskins, easy call. Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, my number 8, it's the Washington Redskins as well. So there's really nothing more to add. So let's go to Fletch's number 7.
All right, MF, number 7. Let's have it.
Oh, I am gonna anger a crew right now, and you know what? I'm gonna do it. Well, because this is retroactive to last week, and because we're not including the recent or in light of recent events, my number 7 is the Detroit Lions. Yes. Give me that roar one time in Motown, because they are roaring right now. They're looking really good. 6-4 going into last week. As many of you know, they did win a huge victory yesterday on Thanksgiving against the Minnesota Vikings. So that's going to skyrocket them up the ladder they go. And no, I really think that this is a really good team. I like what I saw from Detroit. Their defense played really well, got some key plays down the stretch. And, Matthew Stafford's done all right. I mean, he hasn't been the most amazing in the NFL, but he's done really well and well enough, at least in my eyes, to show the love. So, we're getting into a really difficult spot here. So, my number 7 is, I got to say it. It is the Detroit Lions. So, Mike Bullock, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I agree with them. I agree with Fletcher on this one. The Detroit Lions are my number 7 as well. I mean, this is retroactive to last week, but come the following week, they will be going up in the power rankings after their win over the Minnesota Vikings. So the excuse me, Detroit Lions are my number 7 as well. Florio, it is yours.
Yeah, Detroit Lions, number 7. It's because of who just like with the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's because of who they beat. They beat a Doug Enhancement team in the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they didn't do so as decisively as I would have liked. But because of their win against Minnesota, next week they're definitely going to be taking a step up in their rankings. They could be flirting with top 5 status next week. We'll have to wait and see on that, depending on how the other games this weekend go. But for right now, Detroit, I mean, looking to win their first division title since '93. Yes, MF, you were correct. Wayne Fontes was the head coach. Gus Frerotte was not the quarterback, though. I believe it was Eric Kramer, was the quarterback for the Lions. Yes, Barry Sanders was there. Herman Moore was there. Mel Gray and that great defense led by Pat Swilling and Chris Spielman, back when they were playing in the old Pontiac Silverdome. So, they beat the Vikings 16-13. Schedule-wise, they got to go to New Orleans next week, and then they host Chicago. That should be an easy one. Interesting game against the Giants in the Meadowlands on December 18th. Oh, boy, is that going to be a fun one to watch. I hope we get that game, honestly. And then the night after Christmas, they got to go to Dallas against the Cowboys. Yeesh. And then they got the Packers coming in. So that schedule's not so favorable. I mean, especially with 3 of them on the road against a middle of the road team in New Orleans, and then you got to go against the 2 beasts of the East in the NFC East, the Giants and the Cowboys, on the road, both of them. So, but you got the Packers coming in, and I think they can win that game because of how crappy the Packers have been. So that's really all there is to say on it. So I'll give MF the benefit of the doubt. Number 7 is the Detroit Lions. So I'll start off number 6, and my number 6, I got to punish this team. A week ago, if we did power rankings, I would have had this team at number 2. But because of what happened this past week, I got to punish them. They only lost by 2. Kansas City Chiefs, number 6. Bad loss for them. They lose 19-17 to Tampa Bay at home, a game that they honestly should have won, but they didn't. And it does not get any easier, guys. They got a murderer's row schedule the rest of the way. They got to go to Denver Sunday night, as you know. Then they got to go to Atlanta against the Falcons. And then on Bullock's birthday, they got the Raiders coming in. Good luck. And then they got Tennessee coming in. Well, maybe they can beat Tennessee. But then they got Denver. They got to play Denver again on Christmas night. Like I said, Merry Christmas. And then Happy New Year. You're going to San Diego against the Chargers. Trap game, if I ever saw one. So that schedule is very, very tough for KC. So, but with that being said, Kansas City Chiefs are my number 6. Bad loss against Tampa. Had they won that game, they probably would have stayed number 2. They would have been in the top 3 at least. But that loss to Tampa really hurt them. So Kansas City Chiefs, number 6. MF, what says you?
What says me is I agree. Kansas City Chiefs, number 6. Bullock, is yours.
Yeah, Kansas City Chiefs are my number 6 as well. So let's go to the top 5 now, and Fletch is going to start it off with his number 5.
Well, all right. Here is my situation. Like you guys have been saying, if you look at the body of work of everybody going on here, I mean, we got ourselves a very interesting situation. Now, I mean, top 5, this is where things get very interesting. I mean, we got some really good teams coming in. I mean, I'm not gonna reel it off. Like we said, number 1, number 2, number 3. There's really no arguments. But once you get to 4 and 5, ooh, do we get into a fight? Okay. My number 5, and normally I might get shredded for this. I got a tie. I know. Probably not a popular decision. But it goes to the New York Football Giants and the Miami Dolphins. There's a tie at number 5. And the reason why, both teams have won 5 in a row. If you're the Giants, you're 7-3 right now. You lead. Well, actually, you're behind in the NFC East by Dallas by 2 games, but you are firmly in position to get a wild card spot. I mean, you're right there. You're looking really good. Miami, 6-4, big win over the Rams last week. Now you focus on the 49ers, 5 in a row. After you started so horribly and nobody really knew what you were going to look at, all of a sudden you've caught fire at the right time. What brings you to the dance? Big victories. And this is where it gets great. So for me, my number 5 is a tie. The Dolphins, the Giants. Michael Bullock, what's yours?
I agree. I got the Dolphins and Giants tied at my number 5 as well. Yeah, both teams have won 5 in a row, and it's just tough to put one over the other. So yeah, Dolphins and Giants are tied at number 5. Florio, it is yours.
Great minds think alike. New York Giants, Miami Dolphins, both at number 5. I mean, the Giants, 5 in a row, 7-3, and man, oh man, I mean, they're playing their best football at the right time. They had a rough go with the Chicago Bears, but they finally got it done, 22-16. They go from losing 3. They started the year 2-0, but then they lost 3 in a row, and since then they've won 5 in a row. And looking at their schedule coming up, they got to go to Cleveland, easy win. At Pittsburgh the following week, that's going to be a tough one. Home against Dallas on a Sunday night. Woo-hoo-hoo. Ho-ho-ho-ho. Dallas and the G-Men. Ooh, is that going to be a lot of fun. And then they got to host the Lions. And then they got to go to Philadelphia and Washington. Ooh, Murderer's Row schedule the rest of the way after Cleveland. They'll beat Cleveland. But then after that, at Pittsburgh, home against Dallas, home against Detroit, at Philly, and at Washington. Yeesh. If that's not a Murderer's Row schedule, guys, I do not know what is a Murderer's Row schedule, because that to me is the epitome of a Murderer's Row schedule for the Giants. That they'll beat Cleveland hands down easily. But the rest of the way, I don't know. I just don't know. Looking at our other number 5, the Miami Dolphins. Wow. I did forget to mention, however, I had one honorable mention, and that honorable mention was my Buffalo Bills because of their big win in Cincinnati a week ago. But I need to see a little more from them. Take care of Jacksonville decisively. You're back in next week. Getting back to the Dolphins. Barely getting by the Rams, 14-10. And looking at their schedule the rest of the way, they have the Niners coming in. I think they can win that. They're obviously going to win that. At Baltimore, that's a tough one. I really don't know if they can beat Baltimore in Baltimore. Then they got Arizona coming in. Maybe they have a chance in that one because Arizona's been struggling. At the Jets. Oh, yeah, that's going to be a win. At Buffalo on Christmas Eve. Buffalo wants that. Buffalo wants some revenge for that game in Miami on October 23. You better believe that. And then, of course, the big one, New Year's Day at home against the New England Patriots. A game that, who knows, it could come down to that game for the AFC East. You never know. It could be the most meaningful Patriot-Dolphin game in a long time. And if that's the case, MF and I might be ready for that one. That might be a Tony and Mikey special, because back in the day, MF, Patriot and Dolphin games we almost always would clamor for those Patriot Dolphin games back in the day. But we'll see what happens. But for right now, I agree. Co-number 5s are the New York Giants and the Miami Dolphins. I'm going to go with number 4. I'm almost certain Bullock's not ready, but I'll take it at number 4. And
I actually am ready.
Oh, you are? Okay, who you got?
Yeah. My number 4 is, I'm gonna go with the Denver Broncos as my number 4. I mean, well, they did bounce back after. Well, let me actually pull it up first regarding the Denver Broncos. I'm sorry, it's taking a little bit. Oh, there we go. They did bounce back the previous week when they beat the New Orleans Saints 25-23 in what I thought was a crazy game, and especially, of course, the previous week before that they lost to the Oakland Raiders 30-20. So yeah, so they got back on track in a good way. Of course, they got the Kansas City Chiefs coming up on Sunday night, and then of course, rest of the schedule. I mean, the next 2 games after this game, they got Jacksonville and Tennessee, and then of course a showdown against the New England Patriots, and they got the Kansas City Chiefs again in Kansas City, and then they close out against Oakland. And yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see where they. I mean, right now they're basically in as a wild card, so we'll wait and see how they do the rest of the way. So my number 4 is the Denver Broncos. Florio, what says you?
What says me, Bullock, is I have a tie at number 4. One of those teams is the Denver Broncos. I will grant you that. And my other number 4 is the New England Patriots, if I'm going to be real honest with you. New England and Denver are my co-number 4s. I mean, Bullock touched on Denver. I mean, the last time we saw them, they technically had a bye last week, but remember, we didn't have a power rankings because we had that late start. So the bye week rule is not going to come into effect here. So I'm going to have them at number 4. You know, they bounced back from that tough loss against the Raiders, went into New Orleans. Yes, I agree. That was a crazy game. Just ask myself and MF. I mean, for the first time in a long time, MF, I had a screaming Anthony Florio moment. You remember that crazy finish in New Orleans. And that's all I can say. Kansas City next on Sunday night. I think they'll win that. Then they got to go to Jacksonville. I think they can win that. At Tennessee, I think they can win that. I think the streak ends on December 18th against New England. I'm not sure if they can win. Even though they're at home, I don't think they can beat the Patriots, especially with the way New England's been playing. I don't think they can beat them. At Arrowhead on Christmas night, not sure about that one either. And then New Year's Day at home against the Raiders. That could be for the AFC West right there. So that's really all there is to say on that. So Bullock had it half right. Denver Broncos, number 4. My first number 4, and my other number 4 is his team, the New England Patriots. You remember they had a tough loss against Seattle. Seattle got their revenge from the Super Bowl on the Sunday night a couple weeks ago. 31-24. Went into San Francisco. They had a little bit of a rough time against the Niners, but they eventually did pull away and beat the Niners 30-17. They got a pretty soft schedule the rest of the way, does New England. They got to go to the Jets on Sunday. They'll win that. Then they got the LA Rams coming into Foxborough. Yeah, they'll win that. And then a Monday night game against Baltimore. A little bit of a trap game, but I think ultimately they'll beat Baltimore. At Denver, I think they can beat Denver. You know they got revenge on their minds after that epic AFC Championship game in January. Christmas Eve at home against the Jets, they'll win that one. The only one I'm really skeptical of is the final game, New Year's Day in Miami against the Dolphins. Unless they have everything wrapped up, we'll have to wait and see on that. So that's all I can say on that. So co-number 4s, no doubt about it. New England Patriots, Denver Broncos. MF, what says you?
I'm gonna go. Yeah, I agree. The Broncos and the Patriots are number 4. Nothing more to say. I guess I lead off on number 3.
Actually, I do because
Florio leads off.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Then it's yours, kid.
Yeah, you'll be leading off on number 2. Number 3, I'll tell you right now, top 3, very, 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 very easy. First, number 3, Seattle Seahawks. No doubt about it. Seattle Seahawks, first number 3. Sole number 3, rather. 7-2-1. They've won 3 in a row since that. They played very well. I mean, since that embarrassing loss to the LA Rams in week 2, they played very well. They have gone 6-1-1 in that stretch. You remember October 23rd, they had that embarrassing tie against Arizona, and then that embarrassing loss, that tough loss to New Orleans in New Orleans. They've since won 3 straight. Beat Buffalo controversially on that Monday night game. Then they picked up that humongous win in Foxborough on November 13th, getting revenge on the Patriots for Super Bowl 49. And then they beat up on Philadelphia 26-15 last week. 7-2-1. Looking at their remaining schedule, they go to Tampa on Sunday. I think they'll win that. They host Carolina for what is, as of now, a Sunday night game, unless they get flex scheduled. But I think they'll beat Carolina. At Green Bay, you know what? they're going to beat Green Bay because Green Bay has been god awful lately. They get the Rams coming in on a Thursday night. They'll get their revenge on the LA Rams. Arizona comes in on Christmas Eve. I think they can win that one. And that's it. They got a very soft schedule here, guys. And then they got to go to San Francisco on New Year's Day. So this schedule is very favorable. Honestly, I think they can win. I think they can run the table. Honestly, I think they can. Considering how all these teams have been playing lately, yeah, I think they could run the table the rest of the way. I really do. So that's all I can say on that. So number 3, Seattle Seahawks. MF, how about it?
Yeah, number 3, Seattle. Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, and to clear things up, I do also have the Patriots as my number 4 as well. So Broncos and Patriots, number 4. So number 3, I agree. It's the Seattle Seahawks. So there's nothing more to say except let's go to Fletch for his number 2.
Number 2, Fletch.
All right, Oakland Raiders. What is there to say? What a season! They're just having. It's a magical ride. And think about this, guys. They actually have the top seed in the AFC. The season ends today. All roads leads through Oakland from now until the AFC Championship game. Holy cow, can you believe that? Unbelievable. Unbelievable season. Derek Carr, Amari Cooper, AC/DC, Latavius Murray, that defense, Jack Del Rio, maybe Coach of the Year. Nothing more to say. The Raiders. Bullock, it's yours.
Oakland Raiders are my number 2, so there's really nothing more to say. So, Florio, it's yours.
Oakland Raiders number 2. I mean, you look at it. They took care of business. They've won 4 in a row since that tough loss at home to Kansas City on October 16, 26-10. They've since won 4 in a row against the likes of Jacksonville, Tampa Bay, Denver on that big Sunday night game, and then winning in Mexico against Houston last Monday night. They got Carolina coming in on Sunday. I think they can win that. Then they got Buffalo coming in. Yeah, they'll win that one. At Kansas City on Bullock's birthday, that's going to be a tough one, a very tough one. I'm a little on the fence on that one right now. And then December 18, they go to San Diego. I think they can win that one, although I'm a little weary on that one too. Christmas Eve, they got the Colts coming in. I could see them possibly winning that one. And then we'll see how Andrew Luck is by then. And then New Year's Day, the big game at Denver, which I think will be for the AFC West. I'm on the fence about that one, seriously. But for right now, what can you say? This team is Oakland Raider fans have been waiting 14 years for this. A long time coming for those wonderful fans in Oakland, especially those crazies in the black hole. So what else is there to say? Number 2, it is the Oakland Raiders. Now we go to number 1. Michael Bullock, I believe you started off as if there was any doubt.
Wonder who could be number 1. Oh, yeah, it's the Dallas Cowboys. What can you say? I mean, of course, we go by what happened last week. We're not counting, of course, what happened yesterday. Of course, they had won 9 in a row. Of course, it's now 10 in a row. So, obviously, with the win yesterday, they will remain number 1 come next week. And what can you say? I mean, not many people were expecting a lot from this Dallas Cowboys team this season. And, I mean, their only loss was the very first week against the New York Giants. And the moment they lost that game, everybody was like, oh, boy, here we go. It's going to be another average, mediocre season for the Cowboys. Get rid of Tony Romo. Get rid of Jason Garrett. Derek would be going on that tirade. No, I mean, it's been all about the Dak Prescott show. I mean, Prescott has been – he's having a phenomenal rookie season. Yet you could say the same thing for for Ezekiel Elliott. He's already over 1,000 yards rushing. Still got a few more. Can he get down the mark? The offense, especially with those two, but with Dez Bryant, Jason Witten, and of course, what the defense has been doing there, and yeah, I mean, unbelievable run by this team. Of course, after of course they play the Redskins. Like I said, they have won. They've won 10 in a row. Like number one come next week, and yeah. I mean, as we take a look at who they have next after Washington, they get the Vikings on Thursday Night Football. There, they got the Giants on December 11th, Sunday night. That game. Got the Detroit Lions and then the Eagles to close out the season. So Dallas Cowboys number one. They'll remain number one come next week because of that win over Washington. Nothing else.
Yeah, no question about it. Dallas Cowboys, number one. They're number one this week. They'll be number one again next week based on what they did against the Redskins on Thanksgiving. I mean, they're one tough 1-point loss to the Giants on opening week away from being undefeated. If you can imagine that. If it wasn't for that tough loss against the G-Men on opening day, this team would be undefeated. Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott are doing magical things right now. Michael Fletcher has gone on the record in saying that Dak Prescott should be the MVP and Ezekiel Elliott should be the Offensive Rookie of the Year. And I can't argue that. I really can't. They go to Minnesota on Thursday. I was going to consider that a trap game. I do consider it a bit of a trap game, considering it's in Minnesota at US Bank Stadium, but considering how god-awful the Vikings have been lately and how red-hot this team is, I wouldn't be surprised if they go into Minnesota and steal that one. That game against the Giants, now that's a trap game. That's a major trap game. I'm not sure if they can win that one, especially with that game being in the Meadowlands. But I wouldn't be surprised if that ends up being our game of the week by the time we get to that point. At home against Tampa, oh yeah, they'll win that one, no doubt about that. At home against Detroit, night after Christmas, that's going to be a tough game, I'm not going to lie. That's another trap game, but since the game's in Dallas, I think they can pull that one out. And then at Philadelphia, I can see them winning that one. My only concern really is that big game just on Sunday night, December 11th, against the Giants in the Meadowlands at MetLife Stadium, Sunday Night Football. They get by that one, it's going to be smooth sailing for Jason Garrett and company. Number one for this week and next, at least for the next 2 weeks, it is America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. MF, take it home.
Yeah, it's Dallas. They've been unbelievable this season. And to think, when they made the switch, when Dak Prescott was named the starting quarterback, there was a lot of uncertainty. Nobody really knew what to expect. After that, it's just been a magical ride. Offensively, defensively, the way they've been playing. Jason Garrett, the year, and go figure, just months ago, Derek Ferrero was talking about how Garrett should be fired, how he should not even be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Boy, did that tune change quick on Derek Ferrero's account, on my account, on Florio, and Michael Bullock. Now we all believe that Jason Garrett is probably one of the best coaches. Now, we're not calling him a Tom Landry. We're not calling him a Jimmy Johnson. And we're not calling him a Barry Switzer. all these head coaches won Super Bowls for the Cowboys. If Garrett does that, then maybe we can call him that. But right now, he is without a doubt a phenomenal job that he's done. He's definitely Coach of the Year candidate. That's it. Number one, Dallas Cowboys. Nothing more to say. Gentlemen, I'm going to step on out because I've been up for about almost 17 hours and I really need to I need to go to bed. So good night, gentlemen. Have a great night.
All right, you too, MF. And well, that'll put the bow on this edition of Strictly Sports NFL Friday. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. Michael Bullock, why don't you hit us up with your shout-outs real quick, and then I'll wrap it up.
All right. Of course, shout out to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to support our shows, whether it's this show, Strictly Sports College Football Thursday, Ridiculously Raw, or the Cerebral Smack Talk. It doesn't matter. We really appreciate it. We thank you all so very much for tuning in tonight. And we hope, of course, all of you had a very nice Thanksgiving yesterday with your loved ones. And of course, shout out to the First Lady of the Wrestling Forum, Dee, and our superfan, Dee Woodson, and of course to Kevin Woodson and the rest of the Woodson family, and to our other superfans, Matt Ward and Jason Hicksonbaugh. And of course, to our friends from our high school days, you guys know who you are. And of course, shout outs to our news personalities from 6, 10, and 12. And of course, to everybody from ESPN, Fox Sports 1, MLB Network, NFL Network, NBA TV, NHL Network. And of course, Status Sorrell and Lindsay McCormick. And of course, our friends from The Road Show. The former co-host Mary Larson, Megan Mooney, and of course to the three current people, Will Gilbert, Brendan Kirby, and Michaela Johnson. So yeah, that's gonna do it for me. So until Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, this is Mike Bullock saying thank you all so very much for tuning in. Of course, you know the routine. Thumbs up, talk to you later. Yeah, Road to Fortune 4 style. Bye for now. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, everybody. Of course, enjoy the rest of the college football action tomorrow, and then of course NFL on Sunday. So, Florio, take us home.
Will do, Bullock. Special shout out to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to make our projects what they are. We appreciate it as always. You are the best fans in the world. First Lady of the Wrestling Forum, the Twisted Angel, Dee Woodson, along with her husband Kevin Woodson, and the entire Woodson family and their kids. We want to send you a special shout out. We hope you folks had a wonderful Thanksgiving the other day. Of course, Matt Ward, Jason Hicksonbaugh, Daniel Chubb in the UK. Matt Ward just celebrating a birthday recently, so a very special happy birthday to Matt Ward, even though 3 weeks ago was technically his real birthday because his team, the Chicago Cubs, finally broke the curse of the Billy Goat and Steve Bartman to win that epic World Series against Cleveland.
And if I know him for this Christmas, he's gonna want that Chicago Cubs World Series Championship DVD on his list.
He's got the hat. He posted a photo the other day of him with the World Series hat, so he at least has that for now.
And I this is gonna sound crazy to you, Florio, but I actually got the shirt.
Nice, good for you.
Well, and, hey, this is a history making thing, and
yeah, of course.
I mean, this is one time I'll actually get a shirt for another team winning the World Series.
And I'm actually thinking about doing that myself as soon as I get the money to do it. Gotta wait till I get paid on my job, but you know, it is what it is. But
yeah, well, I still need to find that hat. That's the thing.
Absolutely. But happy birthday, Matt Ward. From all of us here at Strictly Sports, you know, Matt Ward, one of our super fans / insiders. He sometimes gives us news feeds, and we appreciate him doing that for us. And you know, he's been a big fan of our show, and hopefully one day we can have him on the show. And you know, he's starting an aspiring broadcasting career of his own on the Chicago Sportsland Radio. So we wish him the absolute best. So very special happy birthday to our super fan and friend Matt Ward, no doubt about it. Jason Hicksonbaugh, Daniel Luttrell from the UK, our other First Ladies, Kaiser Butler, Megan Silva, and Lexi Calloway. the rest of our crew out there, Tommy Souza, Eric Carrier, Jimmy Alden, Al Bradison, and Rob Parsons, and of course, good old MF Michael Fletcher, who did a tremendous job as always tonight. He obviously worked the infamous Black Friday shift at his Walmart, you would have to imagine. And of course, last but not least, when it comes to our crew, the man himself, the hardcore pipe bomb, Derek Ferreira, taking a leave of absence from the sports blog. He's going to be doing some more YouTube videos, which is great news. Those are always must watch. So keep an eye out on Derek's YouTube channel, SLB 2809, as he will be giving us some more wrestling videos, and he'll be doing a new blogging project very soon on this Non-Mule site. So keep an eye out for all things on that, because I'm sure it's going to be great. All of our personalities from Channel 6, 10, and 12, ESPN, Fox Sports 1, NFL Network, MLB Network, NBA TV, the whole 9 yards. So Lindsey McCormick and Status Sorrell, Olivia Harlan, our friends from The Road Show, Will Gilbert, Michaela Johnson, and Brendan Kirby nowadays, former co-hosts Megan Mooney and Mary Larson, and two special shout-outs I want to send out. First special shout-out to a good friend of mine who I've never met yet, but I hope one day I do get a chance to meet her. Julie Alexandria from the San Diego Padres. You know how, I've been going off on that one. I've been saying a lot of great things about her, and, it is what it is. I mean, I love the girl. She's amazing. I can't wait to see her back with the Padres next season. I'm sure she'll be back with them. And, I have taken such a liking to her. She's so amazing, and I'm very thankful and blessed to have her as a friend of mine. And I am hopeful of one day meeting her. And if that ever happens, what a day that will be. That'll be one of the happiest days of my life if I could ever meet that young lady. She is simply amazing. So happy Thanksgiving, Julie. I hope you had a great one down in Hawaii. I know you're on vacation right now, a well-deserved vacation after that off season. So enjoy it, and hopefully we'll hear from you again soon. And last but not least, of course, my church family at Oasis of Grace Ministries on 464 Silver Spring Street in Providence. Coming off of our big fellowship luncheon this past week, it was great. It was a great success. Went very well, and of course, back to normal this week. Of course, Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Bible study. Sometime after 10 is the Sunday service, and the last couple of Wednesdays we've had to cancel Bible study. But hopefully this Wednesday we'll be back on track for that. It's usually Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. That's a Bible study, and then other things going on. So you need a church home, check them out. Exit 25 off Route 95 in Providence. Come see them, and they'll take great care of you like they have for me for the last couple of years now. So that'll do it for this. So thank you all very much for tuning in. Of course, we're off this weekend. So next time we'll see you will be Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, following Monday Night Raw, as we continue on, as we maybe start the Road to Roadblock, End of the Line, which will be coming up on December the 18th in Pittsburgh. Two big title matches coming up. The New Day will be defending their tag team championship against Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. And then Charlotte will be defending her women's championship against Sasha Banks. That'll be in Charlotte on Monday night. We'll review all that, and then we'll also have my Tony's take on Impact Wrestling, the Thanksgiving edition of Impact Wrestling, and then of course Tuesday night Cerebral Smack Talk on MF's channel, Brace Bay 95. We'll get into all that. We'll get into SmackDown Live, and this will be the go home show for TLC, because TLC is a week from Sunday, December 4th, in Dallas, and we'll have that for you. We'll review that go home show. And MF will have his Mikey's Mindset, ROH, Lucha Underground, maybe some RWA, we'll see. And then the season finale of Strictly Sports College Football Thursday, championship week. I don't know how many games we're going to have on the docket, but we'll see. It just depends on how the results go down. Could be more than 4. Maybe it'll be 4. Maybe it'll be less than 4. I don't know. But it'll be a relatively shorter show than usual. And then we'll have what could be our final power poll of this season. And then next Friday, we'll have NFL Friday for you again. We'll recap the Cowboy-Viking Thursday night football game. And yeah, some interesting games again next week. So yeah, that'll put the ball on this edition of NFL Friday. And then we'll also have our TLC preview and recap the following weekend. So, all right, so that'll do it for this. So thank you all so very much for tuning in. So until Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, it's Anthony Florio here for Michael Bullock and in spirit, Michael Fletcher, Derek Ferreira, and Didi Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. But for now, my friends, God bless. Be good to each other. We hope you all had a very happy Thanksgiving. We hope you have a blessed and happy rest of your Thanksgiving weekend. And enjoy all the college football tomorrow, especially Michigan and Ohio State. We're going to have a lot of fun with that, believe me. And then also the NFL action on Sunday. So that's it. So until Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, you've been watching Strictly Sports, NFL Friday, right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube.com. Bye for now, my friends. God bless and be good to each other. And for now, Anthony Florio, so long.